because he's been in the job long enough now, and he should have studied it in the 6 months he had off before taking the job. Well, in that time, he should have studied the England DNA. We all know about the England DNA.
Yeah.
Your job, mate, is to come in and change that DNA. And if you can't do it, then off you pop, because you're not welcome. You've got nothing to offer us if you can't change that DNA. And actually, the last couple of games, Norway and Mexico, he's been adhering to that DNA, playing up to that DNA. So if he needed something different, he should.
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. A bigger U-turn than any British government in the last decade?
Mikel Arteta and Arsenal are not to blame.
No.
It is Thomas Tuchel to blame. The players are also to blame as well.
Got pelters for it, didn't he? Bless him. Adrian Durham making a lot of headlines for his comments about England's exit at the World Cup and Arsenal's role in it. But rather than a real about turn, he's just clarified them today.
The Arsenal thing was about squad selection, and I picked out Arsenal because Declan Rice had declared himself 100% fit in a TV interview before the game. That clearly wasn't true. And also, Bukayo Saka had sat in a press conference and admitted it was a gamble taking him to the World Cup.
So maybe some more questions for Thomas Tuchel, who's taken more flack after suggesting England's DNA was the problem for the loss to Argentina, with reports now that some players are questioning his tactics from inside the camp. Argentine former footballer Sergio Torres has told H&J he thinks they'd have won without England's tactics.
A high percentage of Argentinian players have tough growing ups, and you can see in their attitude and their belief that they never die until the last moment.
Well, we now know for sure that Donald Trump will be at the final, where he'll present the winning players with a Super Bowl-style ring. Jared Bowen has signed an amended contract with West Ham and will stay at the club in the coming season in the Championship. He says after a lot of conversations, he sees that they're focused on the Premier League and he wants to ensure that they return. And to Royal Birkdale, where an Aussie is flying and Rory McIlroy is scrapping to make the cut. talkSPORT's Gabby Partington is watching.
Yeah, you're right. And Aussie is absolutely flying, and his name is Lucas Herbert, who's in a league of his own. Bogey-free and 8 under through 14 holes. Worth mentioning, lowest round ever shot at an Open Championship was Brandon Grace, a 62, and that was right here at Royal Birkdale. Herbert well on track and leads Open debutant Jackson Suber now in the clubhouse by 2 shots, and a couple of shots further back sees the leading Englishman, Matt Wallace, who's in the clubhouse after carding at 3 under 67 today. Then fellow countryman Dan Brown, who was 200 to 1 before his round of 66 yesterday, 4 back, just got going. And as you mentioned, Rory McIlroy just made back-to-back birdies before the turn, is 2 under today and sits on the cut line currently at level par. Remember, you can catch all the action live on talkSPORT 2.
talkSPORT News.
Give back hope to the people as he's named Labour's new leader. And today is set to be the busiest summer getaway on the roads. Amelia's back at past.
Ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, and we are live on talkSPORT. So the England inquest continues. Why has the blame game started? Meanwhile, Jared Bowen commits to West Ham. Is loyalty to be admired here, or has he waved goodbye to his last chance at a big move? Also today, can you be both £100 million worth and yet limited? What has the World Cup done for Jed Spence? A final of Messi versus Yamal. Is it the king and his heir? Plus, fight pundit Spencer Oliver will join us live as we talk boxing. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, and we are live on talkSPORT. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Simon, is in our midst. I was just thinking, I've known you for years.
Yeah.
We go back a long way.
A long
I used to
time.
pester you for interviews when I was at Sky.
Yes. I'm a little bit intimidated at the moment, though. It doesn't happen a lot, but I'm sitting next to Simon, so I'm a little bit intimidated.
Shut up, Jimmy.
Intimidated?
Yes,
Jimmy.
yes.
He's intimidated
No.
by my paddle game. That's what he's intimidated about.
Or do you play paddle tennis?
He's still not coming to the show to play me. He's still scared.
Oh, all right, he's bottling it. What, have you
bottling
played
it.
each other? at
No.
paddle tennis?
I'm waiting.
No.
I'm
Watched
waiting.
him.
Yeah,
I'm
Watched
waiting.
him.
have you?
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Yeah. Jimmy, how
Didn't see anything there that concerned me.
Oh, you watched Jimmy. How do you assess Jimmy's paddle game?
There's room for improvement.
Always. I'll be the first one to say, but I will still beat him.
My money would be in Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Yeah, well,
Jim, in all seriousness, it's great you're with us. I'm delighted.
Yeah,
about
thank
this.
you. No, I'm very excited.
Yeah, good.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Not at all. The dust is settling. Oh, incidentally, you're going to see your Spanish chums this weekend, aren't you? You're going to watch the World Cup with them.
Italians, predominantly, not Spanish.
Or,
They have no goodwill towards the Spanish. They want the Spanish to get beat as well.
Oh, really? but you're going to the south of Spain where you have
Yeah.
your pad,
Yeah.
and you're going to be, and you've got a bunch of friends
Yeah.
coming round to watch
I've lost
the
my
final.
vigour. I've lost all the vigour. I had this big interested focus on having this in the garden projector set up. We're all going to sit there drinking beers and watching England.
Yeah.
And now we've got to watch the Spaniards
Yeah.
and the Argentinians, which doesn't invoke the same feelings.
Yeah.
So I will watch it just out of good form. But other than that, my investment is far less than it was previously for obvious reasons.
And Jim, after Leeds United, you played for Atletico Madrid.
I did.
So is your heart to a degree with Spain in this final?
Not because of that, but I want Spain to win. After seeing how Argentina beat England, and also 4 years ago against the Dutch, they do that really well. They take all the little things and they fire themselves up for that. And I don't want to see them winning it two times in a row.
Okay. Well, let's get into it because, Simon, the blame game has started. But is it a case that the truth simply hurts? This morning, briefings have seemingly been offered up to media outlets that a number of England players, Jim, were left disappointed, unquote, with how the team approached the last half hour tactically. We now hear in the newspapers how certain players believe the team should have had a greater license to press the ball during the closing stages to get up the field. So what are we hearing here? What are we hearing here? They wanted to do something, but Tuchel didn't want them to.
Now, I find that especially the first 17 minutes after the goal difficult to believe. You know, Gordon scores, great goal, but then after that the mentality changes, and that is not Tuchel. That is not Tuchel. The mentality changes, and now the team, how it looks from outside in when I'm watching, the team feels that now they have to defend that 1-0, and they're going backwards. Yeah, that is just a mentality thing. And don't ask me why, but that is just what happens. That has happened against Croatia when they went ahead. That has happened against Norway when they went ahead, while they are on paper the better teams. Yeah.
So what you're telling me that Tuchel, like the rest of us, watched the England players decide to sit back?
No. He's not. He doesn't want that. He wants them to go forward, but subsequently, the players are going back. They're happy. They're thinking. I think it's adrenaline. I think it's not fear, but something is not
Right.
going
Right.
You know.
What would you have
mentally.
done if you were on that field?
What if I was the
Would you be
player?
like, come on, let's get out of here?
Well, that is always the intention. You know, what they were doing well up to the goal was pressing them in their half. They played the game in their half. Argentina didn't have a shot, or all their shots were over the bar, or blah, blah.
Yeah.
They didn't really have had the ball in England's defensive third for a long time in that first half, up until the goal. Yeah. So what changed? What changed after the goal?
That's right.
Basically, they stopped pressing over there. Yeah. So how they pressed,
they decided that, not Tuchel. They decided that.
No, the players decided that. You could see that.
So how they pressed with Gordon on the left, going to the centre half, the right side of the centre half, and Rodgers to the left side of the centre half, and Kane stayed majority in the middle. Yeah, and from there they forced the ball going to one of the fullbacks, and if the fullbacks went out, then one of the centre midfields would go out and stop that, and they would pass the ball back.
But Jim, if Tuchel wanted them to go forward, as you're suggesting, why did he bring on concept for Gordon?
Well, now we are starting talking about something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we are. That is a whole different thing.
He exacerbated it.
So what I think happened is he's seeing them going backwards. He's screaming outside the pitch, "No, go forward." It's not happening. Yeah. It's not happening. Now he's thinking, I need to help them. How am I going to help them? Yeah? And his choice by helping them was bringing Konsa in and making in the 5.
Right.
And closing those spaces.
Right.
Yeah? But what happened? Because now out of a sudden there's 3 midfielders, and next to the midfields there are big spaces. Messi comes into the game.
And they exploited it. But Jim, is this and Simon, this is to you too. Tuchel's interested in this, Jim. Ball possession plays a crucial role. He says it's maybe not in our DNA like it is in the Spanish, Argentinian, Brazilian DNA to take the ball, control the game and the ball, which is a big problem. So what is this? Is it a Tuchel problem, a player problem, or an English problem?
Well, in the circumstances that we're talking about in this situation, the players are the ones that dropped. Tuchel watched them drop, tried to drive them forward. He couldn't get them to do what he wanted them to do, so he effected a solution that he thought was going to provide an outcome. It didn't. It exacerbated the problem. It compounded the issue, and it almost... If you've got a screaming kid laying in bed and saying it wants more chocolate at 10 o'clock at night, you don't give it to them, do you? Right? So if you've got players that have dropped and dropped and dropped, you don't help them drop even further by putting defensive players on. You give them something else that can change the direction of travel, and that's what Tuchel didn't do. Now go to ball retention. Well, we know that English players, and domestically we play a brand of football which is very different to, say, the Spanish. The Spanish, that's why the Guardiola experiment was so phenomenal that it achieved what it achieved, because nobody thought, in the same way that when Swansea come up, different example I know, when Roberto Martinez came up and the Swansea team played in a certain way, people thought you couldn't do that in English football.
Right.
So it is a rarity. So there is an element.
Michael Laudrup,
that is not a get out of jail card.
No.
For Thomas Tuchel.
No.
In this particular set of circumstances, that may well be true, but we are better than a 12% percentage team in terms of ball retention for the last 35 minutes.
But if Tuchel's saying, Jim, this is a DNA problem for the English, this is a big problem for you.
But hold on. The first 70 minutes, you do play out from the back. You do pass the balls. You do have control when you have the ball. The problem, and sometimes the goalkeeper is kicking way too much. And we all know that he has got a beautiful kick and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes you just have to play and pass the ball short. And that's what stopped after the goal went.
And what were you doing at that stage? Were you screaming at your telly?
And Stones, John Stones, if you have a look, at times he gets very angry at Jordan Pickford because he's going too often too long.
Right.
Yeah. You have to be brave at that moment.
Yeah.
You have to pass out from the back, and they are desperate now. You have to pass through the third.
Jim, there's so much to get into, and I'm delighted you're with us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I mean, should one defeat, and my God, it was a significant defeat, yes, but should that determine the future of a top coach like Thomas Tuchel? A lot to get through. Jimmy is with us, and with us at least until 3 o'clock. Simon and I will do the final hour in the world of boxing with one Spencer Oliver, and we look forward to that. We're live on talkSPORT with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station.
Up until 72 minutes, we were going to get into the World Cup.
Crap.
Oh, we weren't crap.
The goal,
right?
the
We
goal
weren't- we
was
weren't
a
crap.
wonderful ball from Morgan Rogers.
Yeah.
But I'm asking you to put your playing hat on now.
Yeah.
Your Argentina, is that a good goal or has they switched up at the back post?
That's a bad goal. You switched off. The right back, or was it the right back? Doesn't
Yeah,
even,
yeah.
it doesn't even
Why
react.
why is that need to criticise a bad goal for England? It was a great goal. We went 1-0 up. It's a great cross.
It was a
Good.
great
Why
cross.
can't you
Decent
why
finish.
can't you argue that Gordon lost his man to score the goal?
Because the geezer doesn't even see him.
Well,
He doesn't go
there
like.
must be a reason for that.
He doesn't run and go boom boom. He just runs and the guy's like,
Yeah, but
oh my
you
man.
can't- Troy, you can't criticise a goal that we
I'm
scored.
not criticising it. I'm saying we didn't play well. We had 5 shots in the whole game.
Yeah.
They had 5 on target. Remember, they don't call the 2 that hit the post on target.
Yeah, but
So
man
they had
for
the same
man-
amount of shots.
But man for man, they're better than us. But
No, they're not.
Oh, well, they are.
No, they're not.
Not man for man, they're not.
Man for man, they're better than us.
Well, last night they were.
Yeah, but still, I think maybe you maybe at a stretch, maybe 3 of their players maybe gets into the England.
Exactly. And they're not man for man better than us.
but-
What they can do better,
Yeah.
and well, this is why I thought Messi's greatness yesterday really showed.
Yeah.
Because you know when they were 1-0 down, there was 40 minutes left, he went, give me the ball. He lost it a few times, give it me again. He hit crosses over, give it me again. Don't worry, just
Yeah.
keep giving it me
Okay.
because I know I'm going to do it. Everyone in their team went, there's 2 lines. You can either be, I'm going to be the person who doesn't make a mistake, I'm going to be the person who wins the game. Everyone in their team and their bench went, we're going to win the game, I'm going to be the man.
Yeah.
Our team went, don't be the one to make the mistake.
No.
And we played with fear. Now, that doesn't always come from the manager, that comes from the players within. One person I do want to give a shout, because I've been very harsh on him with this whole thing. Jed Spence was
Good
top,
yesterday, yeah.
top draw.
Yeah, he was.
Top draw. So I give credit where it's due. But we've got top players, apparently. Where were they?
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Football Debrief on talkSPORT with Toolstation. First stop for all your trade or DIY projects. Toolstation.
Yeah, that's right. Time now for the Toolstation debrief as we look back on what might have been for England, of course, the other night in Atlanta. But it's a final that will feature Argentina and Spain. Later on, you're going to hear from Graham Souness, who was speaking on a show with Simon, World Cup Uncensored. And Souness with some interesting takes on the likes of Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson. You don't want to miss that. We'll get to that. In the meantime, we're on this in the company of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, who's in studio with Simon and myself this afternoon. Jim, we started getting into it. This DNA thing that Tuchel mentioned since the defeat. Maybe it's not in our DNA like it is in the Spanish DNA, the Argentinian, the Brazilian DNA, to take the ball, control the game and the ball, which is a big problem. So where are you at then? How do you define what you saw? And we saw a tactical collapse.
First of all, I don't think that Tuchel means that badly. I don't think that he means it as a dig. What you have is you have several players that play several different styles. You have a goalkeeper that plays for Everton. Everton, with all due respect, plays majority of the balls long. Yeah. You have a midfielder that is doing exceptionally well. Plays for Nottingham Forest, plays a different style as well, and is majority of the time under the cosh. But has done exceptionally well for England. So they're playing all different kind of styles. Yeah, and that comes together.
Right.
And when you are under pressure, have to pass the balls and stuff, Jordan Pickford is used to, okay, it has to go long. So I'm not saying that he does that all the time, but it is a totally different style. Yeah? And that is where the English DNA has got the problem. Because majority of the players, they play in the Premier League and they play different styles.
But Jim,
if you look at the
problem.
If you look at the Spaniards, in Spain, 95% or 90% they play all the same kind of football.
Do you buy into this? What Tuchel's saying? Jimmy has done well to try and explain what behind it he means.
Do I buy into the fact that our football is played slightly differently? Well, it's nothing to buy into. It's a statement of fact. But that's got nothing to do with the outcomes of the weekend. Sorry, of 2 days ago. That's because there were bad decisions made by both players and management. The players decided to drop in a certain way, and that mindset has to be explored and worked through. And it might be because certain players were flagging. It might be because Declan Rice isn't fit enough to be playing in this tournament, and that might be the reality of the situation. It might be because we haven't got Saka in the side, because Saka is not the Saka that we've seen in seasons gone past. And those are key components of a team that can do better than the ones that we saw against Argentina. But post the decision for the players to drop into this game, the manager compounded the issue. The manager, the difference that I have made my argument on for the last however many years about Gareth and about someone else is that when the big decisions come to be made, Gareth abdicated responsibility and didn't take them when opportunities were missed, or didn't have the visibility of doing these things, or the foresight. But a top manager that makes big decisions and knows what they look like will make those decisions. And Thomas Tuchel made a decision, all right. He just happened to make the wrong decisions. And that is the tragedy of our circumstances as a result of the game against Argentina. So the idea we're discussing about how England retain the ball is just for the birds in this discussion. It's an irrelevance.
So what do you both make then of the FA Chief Exec Mark Bulliam confirming yesterday that Tuchel stays on, and it's understood the FA will conduct a full review of this campaign before providing a more detailed assessment of Tuchel's performance as head coach, but privately, and this is significant, surely, Jim, FA insiders are sympathetic to Tuchel's argument that at no point did he instruct his players to abandon their more attacking style.
But he did, because his substitutions detailed it. This is nonsense.
So someone's not getting it right.
I think after the goal, that is not Tuchel. That is just a mentality aspect from the players.
For 17 minutes.
For 17 minutes. After the Konsa substitution, he then makes the decision. We are going to defend this clean sheet. We are going to go for this clean sheet.
But Jim, before this game, Thomas Tuchel was elite. Should one defeat kill a manager's reputation?
No, I think he has to stay. I think he's the right man. I think he has got the mentality to get past this. Yes, I do think that it was a mistake, but that is personally me. I would have want to have seen it. I don't like the ball personally. If I'm coaching or managing, I don't like the ball around my box. I don't like that because I know how I am. Striker, I will always back myself to find that little space. And I just have to put my toe poke to it or whatsoever.
Or hold it up.
Yeah, or hold it up.
But neither does he like
whatsoever.
it, because at half-time, his coach turned around at half-time and said, we want to play in their half of the field. We want to press them in their half of the field. So we do the polar opposite. He's culpable with respect to the pile-on that's happening now, and it has a consequence of being in the media and circumstances and talking about these things. He's culpable for a number of things. He's culpable. What are we doing picking Jordan Henderson and not having Adam Walton there, so you have an option if Declan Rice isn't able to do the job that you want him to do? You've got another option. Why Jordan? If they want Jordan there and they're so desperate to have him in a coaching capacity, put him on a coaching staff. Why would you bring Jordan Henderson? Why would you not bring your best players? So you give yourself an opportunity. Souness was making the case yesterday, but Graham makes arguments that put you in a cul-de-sac, where he was making an argument about the fact that the reasons why Tuchel did what he did, because he looked on his bench and he went, I can't change this. There's nothing, because I'm saying to him, he had to change it. He had to get the ball up the field, which means he has to bring people on the field that can do that. Whether that's
I do think that he could change it. I do think that he could have changed it differently.
Well, of course he could have
because
changed
he had different kind of players.
Of course he could have changed.
And let's not forget, the two centre halves were both on yellow cards.
It's unforgivable.
The two centre halves were both on yellow cards.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to say is, I don't like the ball in my defensive third. I want to be there and let strikers are lazy. Strikers are lazy. So at that time, Gordon had done his job. Rodgers had done his job, and maybe even Kane had done his job. So he's done what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Put legs on.
Put some legs on.
Put legs on.
Yeah.
And put those two centre halves in trouble that they have to turn and maybe make another yellow card.
He did not hesitate yesterday, Jim, when I put it to Simon. And one of the many things you get with Simon is he says what he means and he means what he says, and you still stick to it today. Tuchel should be sacked.
I think there is a serious consideration that should be given to it. I mean, people are very reactionary, and I don't like to be too reactionary. I like to be common sense.
That's a little bit reactionary.
But I look
where
at
you knee-jerked yesterday with
No,
it.
I don't think so. I think, I certainly think a serious conversation has to be had. It's not a given that he keeps his job. I look at it and say he was brought in for one reason only, to eclipse what Gareth did. And the DNA behind Thomas Tuchel was that he would make a better decision. He sat on a television and said the reasons why England were unsuccessful in the European Championships in terms of winning that European Championship, because they didn't have an identity, they didn't have a rhythm, and they spent more time trying to stay in a game rather than winning it. What was that if not exactly the same? And if you were brought in, if he was indeed brought in, as we were told he was brought in, to give us the best possible chance of winning the World Cup, there was nothing about the decision-making process through significant parts of this tournament. I think the players navigated the Norwegian game. I don't think Thomas Tuchel did that. I think the players made decisions about how they were going to play. And I think Thomas doesn't have the players' attention for whatever reason. And the decisions that he made in this game were... Everybody, besides Souness and him being a contrarian, everybody in the world knows that the decisions that Thomas Tuchel made were absolutely wrong. And when you come on top, and if your one function in life when the big moment comes is you've got to make the right decision, and you make the wrong one, there must be a consequence for it. It can't be a pat on the back, let's have a little chat back at it and wave it away. It has to be seriously looked at and gone, why? What is the issue with this squad? What is the issue with the players? Why didn't you pick the best players? Why didn't you have people to turn to that could have made the circumstances change for you? Why did you pick Jordan Henderson? Why wasn't other players put into the team? And why did you approach this game in the last
Jim,
25
just to be
minutes the way
clear,
you did?
You would think sacking Tuchel is too knee-jerk.
Yeah.
Wanting him sacked would be too knee-jerk.
I don't even think that you should talk about it. I think he should have another 2 years at least.
But Jim, FA insiders are sympathetic to Tuchel's argument that at no point did he instruct his players to abandon their more attacking style. So who shouted retreat?
I think nobody shouted retreat. I think it's a subconscious thing that happened, and I think that could only have been changed by
Tuchel,
by a positive substitution.
Exactly.
By
and that's what he's saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying also. But I'm not saying that you should sack him.
Job a result of it.
Yeah, you should not sack him.
Okay.
Because I think I think at that time, I think he thought, okay, I'm gonna help them with defending.
If I were looking at this in a corporate sense, I'd say it was negligence. I look at it and go, that decision-making process, for whatever reason, however you got consumed or subsumed into the thinking of allowing your team to be continuing playing the same way, to me, is bordering upon a form of negligence. You were there to make a decision that changed the direction of travel, and what you did was you made it worse. Yeah. And there has to be a consequence.
Jim, we're going to get into more of this the other side of this break, because you were there. Of course you were, when Gareth was in charge. We'll get into some of that as well. Hope you're enjoying this, Jimmy. We're live in talkSPORT with Tool Station at 1:30 on a Friday afternoon.
Football debrief on talkSPORT with Tool Station. First stop for all your trade or DIY projects. Tool Station.
Mick McCarthy joined Simon and Piers, decided to take Piers Morgan on regarding an incident way back in 2009 when, as Wolves manager, he rested a number of players for a trip to Old Trafford.
I've always respected you hugely, genuinely, as a manager.
Except when I dropped 10 players at Wolverhampton.
Yeah, well, that was terrible.
You did say something that I was particularly unhappy about.
I thought it was shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Well, what was your problem with what I said? You must have known I was right.
You're never right, mate. You just antagonise people with your comments, which you're doing on this show quite clearly. No. So when you said it, my job is to win games.
Yes.
We went to Spurs the Saturday before. We won 1-0 with about 35% possession. We've got Manchester United on the Tuesday. I went there and I dropped 10 players. I have a squad of 22. If I'm a manager, it's my right to manage that team how I see and get results.
And it's my right as an Arsenal fan who you were directly impacting with your cowardice
because you weren't good enough
to call you out on it.
Because you weren't good enough to win the title, and that Sir Alex won it again, and he won it. You weren't good enough, so you blame me, which is real bad on my part.
Now I know what Roy Keane's problem was.
No,
just to be clear. By dropping 10 players, you let United walk all over you, which had a direct impact on my team's chances of winning the league. I thought that was an appalling abrogation of your duty as a manager to entertain the fans with the best available team.
Clear you up. My duty was to beat Burnley on the Saturday, and we did.
Well, Mick hasn't forgotten, has he? That's for sure.
Oh, no, he went further than that. He said that Piers was a purveyor of the wrist action. Went into that sort of territory.
What is the World Cup's most controversial moment? Hurst's goal, which definitely was a goal? Zidane's headbutt? Ronaldo's hell scare in '98? Nah, it's obviously Maradona's hand of God. Mexico City, 1986. England are set to take on Argentina in the World Cup quarter-finals. Both sides have won their group, and both are well fancied to lift the trophy. This game means more. Just 4 years on from the end of the Falklands War, and the hatchet has very much not been buried. It's a physical match, with Diego Maradona taking the brunt of a strong-handed approach from England's defenders. Despite a few early chances from England, Argentina are well on top, but luckily for the Three Lions, Peter Shilton's having a good day between the sticks. At half-time, it's goalless. 6 minutes after the break, the ball was played to the edge of the area. Steve Hodge sliced his clearance and it headed back towards his own goal. Up went Maradona's left hand and he punched it into the net. He wheeled away in celebration, urging his teammates to join him, while the England team was furiously surrounding referee Ali bin Nasser of Tunisia. Even decades later, Peter Shilton hadn't forgiven Maradona. Argentina won 2-1 and went on to lift the World Cup trophy. I mean, without the hand of God, we might never have got the song Three Lions. But we'd have another World Cup.
Now then, it's day 2 at the Open, still bathed in warm sunshine at Royal Birkdale. Let's find out what's going on. Here's Gabby Partington.
Thank you. Yeah, it is hot. And I tell you who is on fire. Well, it is the Australian Lucas Herbert, who continues to tear it up. He just made a 6-foot birdie putt to go 9 under par today. Wow. Just 2 pars now coming home would mean around a 61, which would break the record for a lowest score at a men's major. No pressure. Open debutant Jackson Suber's first stint at playing links golf and is in the clubhouse now, 3 off the lead. And fellow American, the 2021 champion of the year, golfer of the year, Colin Morikawa, a shot further back in sole third. Shane Lowry's another player, bogey free today, 2 under par, 3 under for the championship. Scotty Scheffler's a shot further back and gets his second round underway in about 90 minutes' time. What about Rory McIlroy, the world number 2? Well, he parred his first 3 of his back 9. He's 2 under today, level for the championship and sits on that cut line. Don't forget, you can catch every moment live on talkSPORT 2.
The Open Championship update on talkSPORT with Arnold Clark. Buy a used car and get a free 2-year service plan.
It is Friday afternoon. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank in studio with the two of us this afternoon. We're delighted about that. We're talking, of course, about England's exit the other night at the hands of Argentina in that World Cup semi-final. And we're talking about the impact it may or may not have on Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel, said to have this elite managerial gene. But has that now been pretty much debunked? We're going to get into that. Jurgen Klopp has come out to defend Tuchel. People always speak after the game like coaching is easy. Like you just choose to attack or choose to defend. And he says, in knockout football, whatever decision you make, someone will criticise you. Simon is saying, no, there are big questions to be asked about Tuchel, and maybe it should be time up for Tuchel. Jimmy in studio is saying here, no, give him another 2 years. This was Sean Dyche on Breakfast.
There was a lot of talk about this feel, and the feel was better. I wasn't having that bit. I was going, oh, come on, do me a favour. And I've spoken freely on, I think it was with Simon and Jim about, Gareth's time, and they were sort of suggesting I was supporting him because I'm his mate and all that. I wasn't. I was just calling it how I think it was. I don't think there was radical change. I had a big debate with Simon about it on their show and said, look, I don't think there is radical change. Simon was saying there is, and he's a master tactician and that's fine, by the way. I've got no problem with people's comments because we're here now talking about it. The same people who were lauding this guy were saying he's a tactical genius, what a guy, he's changed the feel, he's done this, he's done that, and now going, rubbish, you've got to get him out. Yeah. You go, well, he hasn't become a rubbish manager because of a bad decision or 3 or 4 decisions.
But enough of Simon Jordan.
I didn't name him.
Oh, you didn't.
I didn't name him. Did I just cross it and you just nodded it in? No.
Sean Dyche with Jeff.
Tactical. You're a tactical steward.
No, none of that. I said, I think Sean had a conversation with himself, which he's quite happy with anyway, because he knows all the answers anyway, doesn't he? None of that was said. What was said was, first of all, I did not, and neither did you, by the way, suggest that the feel of this England team was better than the previous England teams. What was said was what Jude Bellingham turned around and said, and Jude Bellingham's interview was that he feels more comfortable in this camp than he did in the Euros 2024. That's what was said.
I obviously I was part of the camp before, and I heard that and I read that, and it was quite hurt me. It was quite painful for me because I was part of that, and I thought it was a really good camp, even though there was so many little problems.
So what do you think he
camp.
meant then? What did you think he meant?
I don't know. We will have to ask him. But the camp and Gareth did absolutely magnificent with what was coming from outside to in the camp to keep that all together and to keep that so positive and to get to that final in the Euros. Yes, we lost. Yes, we didn't play well, but we at least had a very, very good semi-final against the Netherlands.
Well,
that we won.
You brought it up. Let's listen to what Jude Bellingham said, looking back on Euro 2024. This was Jude speaking on the Line Den show.
And I think at the Euros we got some things a little bit wrong off the pitch. I don't feel like the group connected as well as it could have, for a number of reasons. I think expectations part of it. You know, we've done well obviously in the last 2018. We've done well in Qatar. We've done well at the Euros both times. And then when it came to that tournament, I think we were seen as, you know, one of the 2 or 3 teams that should win it. We weren't playing particularly well, which doesn't help. So even when we were winning, it felt like you don't get the feeling that we were as happy as we should be. Because there has to be that element of relentlessness and you want to win. But the nature of football, and especially at this level, is that wins go out the system very quickly. And I think we should have held on to that moment a little bit more. And I think this time round, having those experiences, knowing that, for example, the guy who scores the goal in the World Cup winning final isn't always the one that you'd bet your house on. So everyone's got to be ready. Everyone's got to feel loved. Everyone's got to feel like they're playing a huge part of the team. And the other thing is, just to enjoy it.
So Jimmy, you were part of that. You were part of Gareth's setup. Bellingham says at the Euros we got some things a little bit wrong off the pitch. What was it?
I would like to know what. I really would like to know what. Yeah, there were.
Do you recognise anything of what you're saying?
No, not really. I thought it was a really, really good camp. I've got little videos of our days off and everybody together and music on and everybody happy singing and, you know, everybody together and all that kind of stuff. Yes,
you can't be making it up.
No, but yes, there were like little problems with players, but that they were personal problems with certain players, and yes, that affected a little bit the group, but it didn't affect the group that we couldn't perform. We were still together.
Right, you're still a unit.
We were still a unit, and I don't think that he's talking about that, but I would like to know what he means. I thought it was a really, really good camp, and I've been in lots of camps.
So this criticism of Southgate, what was that steeped in? Disrespect, or was it right that he should be criticised?
The grass is always greener on the other side. Let's leave it with that.
What would it theoretically? I want to ask you this, Jim. The other night when England were winning, do you think they would have got over the line if it had been Gareth in the technical area and not Tuchel?
That is a very naughty question to ask, Jim. One thing that I will say, and Klopp, you have just read a statement of Klopp, and I agree with what Klopp says. It's easy to talk afterwards. Yeah, it's so easy. But I'm telling you now, 100 million%, I would have not wanted to put defenders on at that time. I would have, if Gareth at that time would have asked me for, what do you think, Jim? What are we going to do? I would give him the advice, put attackers on, swap the attackers. That's what I would do.
All right.
That's my.
And what would Gareth have done?
That's up to Gareth.
But would he have listened to you?
Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But it will be Steve, Holland, and Gareth, and the others as well, you know, who would make that the decision. If you look at the final against Spain, who came off? Kane came off. That's a big decision. We were losing 1-0. That's a big decision. He dares making that decision. Did it work out? No. But it didn't work out.
So Simon says Gareth wasn't proactive. He was.
Simon he's got his decision already made up. He doesn't look really at the facts. He's thinking still of the Italian game. Yeah, that's what he's thinking of.
What, at Wembley?
At Wembley. But if you look at the facts, and I'm not saying that
I'm looking at the Croatian game, which I gave him an element of pass for. First of all, I think Gareth Southgate did a decent job because what he inherited,
he did a brilliant job. What he inherited
was not very good. It was in chaos because they've come after the Euros of 2016, after the Iceland situation. Sam had created his own problems, and Gareth had turned the job down first time, and then took it after the second situation when Sam had fallen on his sword. And he built a side that went into the World Cup and lost the game against the Croatians because he didn't change anything. So the first half went a certain way, second half the Croatians changed, we didn't match it. We go to the Italian game, everybody in the world knows what's coming except Gareth, it would appear. Then we go into the French game in Qatar, when we have the French on the rack, and what we needed to be was brave and roll the dice and go after the French.
Is that the game where Harry Kane missed the second penalty?
Correct.
Yeah, but come on, Simon. What can happen with Kane? That can happen.
That was
they were playing ever so well.
That's not my point. The penalty was to get us back in the game. At that particular point I'm talking about is when we had the French on the rack and we could take the game away from the French and be in ascendancy, and we didn't. And we let the French get back into the game by not being bold. So those are the three reasons why I've been critical of Gareth. I've also been praising of him to turn around and say that what he's done is worth mentioning. But when you've got big decisions to make and he doesn't make them and didn't make them at certain times in the game, that is why I was an advocate for someone like Thomas Tuchel who would make them. So you be careful what you wish for, because I've now got what I wished for. Right? If someone had made a decision in the game, which
the grass is greener on the other side.
I now can't fathom. I can't look at it and go, how can Thomas Tuchel have operated at the level that he's operated at? And maybe it explains why he got kicked out of Bayern Munich. Maybe it explains why he doesn't stay in these clubs for a long period of time. And maybe this idea in my mind that he was an elite manager is possibly wrong. But the bottom line is, when it came for him to make a decision, what do I think Southgate would have done in this situation? Nothing. I think he would have done nothing.
I don't think so.
I think he would have sat there and allowed it to play out. I
definitely don't think so. 100% not. 100.
Well, we'll never know, will we?
We never know.
No.
But hooking Kane off, with due respect, against
it's not only.
No, but let me just.
We are not saying Kane.
But let me just counter that point.
I think they needed energy up front. Whoever they take.
But let me just making the point about you saying that he hooked Kane off against Spain in the European Championship.
He didn't hook Kane off. He took.
Oh, he took him off, right?
Yeah.
Terminologies, right?
Yeah.
He took him off. Do you know why he could do it? Because the entire British media had been slaughtering Kane for the duration of that competition because he was miles off. So it wasn't as big a decision as you're making, because the backdrop to Kane.
It's never going to be right. It's never going to be right, is it? You will always find something.
No.
Well, guys, I'll jump in. We're going to grab a break. We'll grab a break and come back. We'll talk about Kane when we come back. We'll talk about Souness and what he said about Rice and Anderson. And you don't want to miss that. We're live in talkSPORT, as if you didn't know.
I wasn't overly enamoured with what we were doing anyway. I've spoken freely on this marvellous channel that we're on, and, on talkSPORT regularly, and said, look, it's not as good as what everyone was making out, I didn't think, and that's nothing against the manager, Thomas Tuchel, nothing at all. It's just that I didn't think, I wasn't thinking we were blowing teams away and we were purring, but we were finding a way, and that's equally fair to say. That's a brilliant thing to have, of course, if you're not playing brilliantly, but you're winning games. Now, that's a great habit. We all know that. So I don't think I was too... I try and give balance to my comments about these things, and I didn't think we were magnificent anyway. there was a lot of talk about this feel and how the feel was better. I wasn't having that bit. I was going, oh, come on, do me a favour. And I spoken freely on, I think it was with Simon and Jim about, Gareth's time, and they were sort of suggesting I was supporting him because I'm his mate and all that. I wasn't. I was just calling it how I think it was. I don't think there was radical change. I had a big debate with Simon about it on their show and said, look, I don't think there is radical change. Simon was saying there is, and he's a master tactician and that's fine, by the way. I've got no problem with people's comments because we're here now talking about it. But I did say on that show, I did say to Simon, I said, Simon, there's nothing radically changed here. If you cut through the noise and you go, in balance to that side of it, which I've been intrigued with, is I do think this is the best opportunity we've ever, certainly in my lifetime, I think it's the best opportunity we've ever had to win the World Cup. Not because we're amazing, but because the other superpowers are not as superpowered as what they were. France were flying. I think we're all shocked by that one because they were the ones who you thought, right, okay, they're what we think they should be, apart from their last game. And equally, you look at them and they are superpowered. And yet, you look at their last game and you go, what just happened there? So it is the World Cup. It's not easy to win a World Cup. Everyone sort of suggests it is, but it's not.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com. The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com for all the latest odds and offers. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Friday afternoon, it's lively in here. We'll get back to Gareth Southgate in a minute in the company of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. I'm slightly worried because Jimmy's due to take a lunge at one of us and I'm not wearing any shin pads. talkSPORT Bet ambassador Ryan Douglas is with us in studio. Ryan, you've saved us by coming in at this particular moment. Tell me what your thinking is at the moment, Ryan, regarding, well, I tell you what, domestically, the championship and promotion odds.
Yeah, exactly. I'm breaking it up. I'm breaking this up. Just park it for 10 minutes.
It's all off.
It's all off. I saw in the break it's all off. Yes, championship promotion. Because there's some news that directly affects the championship, isn't there? It's Jared Bowen. He's decided to extend his stay with West Ham, which is fantastic news. It's a great statement for fantastic news for West Ham fans. Great statement for West Ham, for him himself as well. And it directly affects the odds because in terms of promotion, West Ham have moved to odds-on favourites to be promoted from the Championship. Then you look at Wolves at 9-2, Burnley 7-1, Middlesbrough and Birmingham then at 10-1. So is that refreshing to see, Jimmy, that Bowen is, staying loyal to his club?
It's nice to see. I'm surprised because that is basically his England career done. Because there's so many white players, that are playing in the Premier League, and I would have thought that he would have gone to Aston Villa or a Newcastle or something like that. But then on the other hand, there is still players who are loyal to their club.
I was going to say he should be applauded, shouldn't he? And I like that. Well, it's about his career as well, eh? It's about, and it is short. So, yes, you want to stay loyal to your club, but you also want to get the most out of your career. Yeah. Football-wise.
Sure. So
Jared says, listen, on the England front, if not Tuchel, who?
Yeah, exactly. Or Jimmy doesn't think he should be sacked, and Simon, you're on the camp that he's had his moment, and I think the nation is split at the moment, especially on the internet. All the things I'm seeing, it is split. The question I want to put here is about whether the next manager, should the FA pivot? Should they pivot? Does he have to be English? Does he have to? Do they go back to this Southgate-esque style? Because I mean, I'm in the camp that shouldn't be the case. Pep Guardiola's the favourite, and I would snap your arm off for that. But then you look at the betting here. Howe's second in the betting. Eddie Howe at 7-2. Then you go to Lee Carsley's at 6-1. I'm looking at Jimmy's face over there. Potter's 12-1. Lampard's 14-1. Gerrard 20-1. I don't think it needs to be the case, Jimmy. Are you in that camp as well?
I'm in a camp that you should just stick with Tuchel. He now knows the players a lot better. I don't think that this should be a discussion, really.
What about yourself, Simon? If they pivot from Tuchel, does that matter to you?
But they're not going to.
No.
So if and or but. But Pep Guardiola is not going to take the England manager's job.
No.
So the real default position is whether Eddie Howe is ready to take the England manager's job. If that was the situation, it's not the situation. The FA have made their decision. They've come out quickly. Whether people like me ruminate on whether that's a good thing to do is irrelevant. They've made their decision, and Thomas Tuchel gets to go again. What will be interesting to see is when the bloodletting is finished, or the full flow of blood has been allowed to develop. We'll see and hear more than we know at this moment in time, because the ridiculousness of some of the arguments in isolation make you think that something is fundamentally flawed in the thinking, because the FA have accepted that at no point did Thomas Tuchel encourage the team to defend. But by putting on 3 defenders to hold the game in the 72nd minute, irrespective of what the bloody team has decided,
Here we go again.
is the exact embodiment of what Thomas Tuchel did do.
Anyway, I do think that if they go after 2 years away from Tuchel, it should be an Englishman.
Okay.
It should be an Englishman. I like to see nations have their own, I like to see that. And why is nobody talking about Frank Lampard? He's done absolutely brilliant. Why are nobody saying...
Maybe in time they will.
He's 14-1. He's in the betting.
He should be a lot shorter,
They got Everton relegated.
But
dreadful time at Chelsea when he went back.
Relegated. Everton relegated.
No, he nearly got Everton relegated.
Oh, nearly.
And had to deal with it.
But if you look at what Everton had, but if you look what he's done with Chelsea, the first time around was magnificent. Second time, nobody would have done that well when he went into
he's your mate,
Chelsea.
is he? Right, so
no, he's not my mate. No, hold on. Well, he's not my mate.
Jimmy's saying,
I don't speak to him.
Look no further than my
honestly, I don't speak to him. I
know Jim.
I just think that he's done a good job.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because the orthodoxy would suggest that you want elite management going into managed national sides. That's what the orthodoxy used to suggest, right? Albeit when they put Ron Greenwood in 1978, you could say that was not a representation of that. But the idea that is true, look at Scaloni. He's not an elite manager. He's gone and managed Argentina. Yeah. So it isn't necessarily the right way to go or the wrong way to go. But it appears to me that
Ancelotti in Brazil.
Also the Spanish manager.
Yeah.
La Fuente.
Listen, do you not fancy...
but he's an elite manager.
Jim, he's not, is he?
Jim, do you not fancy the Scotland job?
He wants a chance, he said.
I'm half Scottish. Yeah.
He wants a chance.
I like the Scots, but I don't think that job is for me.
What half? Is it the Jimmy half or the Floyd half?
It's the Jimmy half.
Jimmy Floyd McHasselbank.
Yeah. At home, I put a ginger wig on.
Ryan, finish it for us, because this will be finished with the final on Sunday.
Yeah, will the prophecy be fulfilled? In 2007, Messi poses with a picture of baby Yamal, and now they've since both played for Barcelona. They both wear the number 10, and nearly 20 years later, they're in the World Cup final together. So talkSPORT Bet have super boosted both of these superstars to have a shot on target. We love that. It's gone from odds on all the way to 11 to 8, and that'll be available on Sunday morning. Download the talkSPORT Bet app. Check that super boost out. Will the prophecy be fulfilled? Yamal versus Messi. We can't wait for it.
Ryan, great job by you, mate. Both here and in the US. Really enjoyed your company. That was a look at the latest odds thanks to talkSPORT Bet. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
25 minutes. You're
showing
playing
your hand
against
too early.
Argentina,
Showing your hand
and you've
too
just gone, here, there you go.
I'm
Go
so
on, just attack
disappointed.
us. Attack v defence.
Do you know what, Jay? I can't believe I'm having this conversation about Tuchel. I cannot believe I'm having this conversation.
Sack him. Sack him.
It's just rinse and repeat as England, and I don't know whether he looked back on that Mexico game and got drawn into how comfortable he felt. No, Jay, I'm not giving you an answer. I'm trying to find a reason. I'm trying to get into his head. I don't know the answer, Jay. But any more than you. Don't, Jay. I'm trying to find a reason.
But why put Bellingham on the left?
Jay, I don't know.
Why not bring Rashford on?
I don't know.
Why not bring Saka on?
I don't know.
What was he thinking?
I don't know.
What's he thinking?
I'm trying to get into Tuchel's head because the lads were dead on their feet. And if you're going to go to 5 at the back, which I kind of understand in one way, I do. But what you need to do is help help the back 5, because if they can't get out, you literally are on the edge of your box, and you can't defend all the time like that. You need pressure on the ball. You need players to get out, and also you need an out ball. We had no out ball. Nothing.
But
I can't believe you said
that's coaching 101. That's literally coaching. We are sat there, 2 donuts, all right, in the Redwood. 2 people that sit on here, all right? We ain't coaches. We know football. He's the top level England manager, and the whole nation can see.
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. Amid reports even the players within the squad are questioning Thomas Tuchel's tactics throughout the tournament, a former England coach has told us he should keep his job. This is Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, of course, part of the backroom team that led England to the final of the Euros 2 years ago. He admits Tuchel made mistakes, but
I think he has to stay. I think he's the right man. I think he has got the mentality to get past this.
Meanwhile, if there was one element of talkSPORT's analysis of England's exit that went viral, it was Adrian Durham apparently saying Arsenal were to blame. Fair to give him the right of reply then, after he was pilloried for that yesterday. And he's clarified things a little.
It went out on social media with those words. I didn't write that tweet. It said, Adrian Durham thinks Arsenal are to blame. Actually, never said that at all. And actually, in the piece, in the little clip, it says, Arsenal have every right to play the players as much as they want. They pay those players. But obviously that got overlooked.
Adrian says his issue was with the selection of 2 clearly unfit Arsenal players. Jared Bowen is staying at West Ham for the Championship season. He says the club is focused on being in the Premier League and he wants to be integral to their return, though talkSPORT understands an amended contract includes an agreement that if they don't, he can leave. He was the favourite to take the England Test coach job once again after Brendan McCullum quit, but it won't be Andy Flower. He's confirmed he has spoken with the ECB, but while it'd be a privilege to return to the role, he's comfortable with the 2 jobs he has at the moment, and so he'll stick with doing that. And could the Aussie Lucas Herbert make history in his second round at the Open? talkSPORT's Gabby Partington is watching.
Yeah, history indeed. I feel nervous for him. He is 1 hole, maybe a few strokes away from breaking the record for the lowest round at a major championship. The Australian's currently, he's just hit his drive right onto the tough 18th, swerved by spectators, saved by the fencing. He just needs a par here. Now, Herbert has a 3-shot cushion over American Jackson Suber. And to be honest, there are a few low ones out there today. Sam Burns is on 6 under, Patrick Reed's 5 under, both into the top 10. But Lucas Herbert making those scores seem less sparkly with what he's doing. Elsewhere on the golf course, Matt Fitzpatrick having a day to forget. The former US Open champion picked up a birdie on the 11th, but since given one back on the 13th, 4 over today, and as it stands, won't be back for the weekend. Fellow Englishman Aaron Wright also in danger of missing the cut by 1, so needs to find something in his last few. But attention now is on Lucas Herbert and whether he can make history, and you'll be able to find out live on talkSPORT 2.
talkSPORT News.
Andy Burnham is promising the biggest changes to British politics for 40 years after becoming Labour leader. And parts of the UK have seen the longest dry spell since the 90s. Sinead is back at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
It's the last day of the really hot weather today, with temperatures as high as 30 in the south, though cooler by as much as 10 or more degrees in the north. Isolated showers may develop across the south this afternoon and ease into the evening.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's 6 minutes past 2 o'clock this Friday afternoon, Friday, July the 17th. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. And we are live in talkSPORT, live on YouTube as well. So many of you getting in touch and saying you're watching the show as well as listening to it. And that is fine by us. And you can watch it in a number of ways. You know that by now. LG channels, of course you can. Prime Video, Samsung TV Plus. Wherever you want to watch it, you will find us live on your telly. And we're with you all the way through until 4 o'clock. Jimmy's with us till 3. Between 3 and 4, Spencer Oliver will come in and we will talk boxing. We're going to be talking, Simon, to, amongst others, Andy Ruiz.
Oh, got him out of the larder, have we?
Yes, indeed. I look forward to you telling Andy that that is your description of him. But he'll be joining us in Zoom, so not in studio to smack you right in the kipper. Jimmy is with us for the next hour and a lot to get through. Jim, just before we leave the era in which you worked with England, the Southgate era, do you know, I'm just thinking, before we leave it, what we've seen happen with England the other night and in this World Cup, do you think that will go some way to reshaping some of the critics' opinions on Gareth and what he did in his time?
That's I don't know. My opinion of him will stay, and we all know what that is, and how we have worked and how it was in the camp. We were almost there. This England was also almost there. If you would have said at the start of the World Cup, England is going to the semi-final, everybody would have been like, yeah. You know?
Would they? This one?
I think so.
Was Tuchel not in to win it, Jim?
He was in it to win it, but did you really, football-wise, think that we will go, I'm saying we because I was part of it, going to be able to get past Spain again? We had to have luck. We have to have that luck. So you would say the next time we play Spain, we have to have that. Everything has to go for us. We are not the favorites, but everything has to, and we have to be spot on, you know? So England still has done a really good job getting to the semi-final. Yes, it's been disappointing because of the last 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That last 25 minutes. So really England has to work on their last 25 minutes when they go ahead. That's what needs to be improved.
Of course.
To go over that line.
Jim, we've got a lot to get through. It's time for this.
Talk Sports Weekend of Epics with the Odyssey. England might not be in the final, but you can still make this weekend epic. Don't miss the cinematic spectacle of the summer. The Odyssey, in cinemas now.
We're going to look back at England's journey through this World Cup with Christopher Nolan's epic new film, The Odyssey, in IMAX and cinemas everywhere from today. And various people are looking back at what they perceive to be England's World Cup, whether it ended in success by getting to the semi-final stage or didn't. Graham Souness, former Scotland captain, former Liverpool captain, former Sampdoria player, is one of those who was on with Simon on World Cup Uncensored. And he had a bunch of opinion, as Graham does, not least, more specifically, on certain players like Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson.
I think these two young lads, well, certainly in Anderson's case, young lad, are limited. Declan Rice, for me, limited. I mean, you hear people talk about Declan Rice, a world-class footballer.
Yep.
As a midfielder...
But you've always had that view.
I think he might be a centre-half. There's nothing to dislike about him in terms of his attitude to the game, nothing to dislike about him, and his athleticism, nothing to dislike about him, and his commitment from the first minute to the last minute. My criticism of his is he doesn't have enough football in him.
Right.
They talk about, well, look how he runs with the ball. As a centre midfield player, Simon.
That's what you should do.
You shouldn't do.
You shouldn't do.
You shouldn't do.
Right.
And the reason people run with the ball is because they don't see the picture quick enough. I've got a picture in my head which is never leaving.
Didn't Patrick Vieira used to do that?
Not as much as them. But the difference with Patrick, there might be an end product.
Jimmy, Souness is much respected because of what he did. But can you be both worth £100 million and yet limited?
I don't think that he's limited. I don't agree with Graham. I've seen him from close. I've seen him in training. I've seen him in games. I think he can be even more dominant by believing more in himself. I think he can also score more goals. I think he can shoot more at the goal. Those kind of things can be more added, but has to be put in his mind.
So where's Souness going with that?
You have to ask Mr. Graham. But I do think that he's top. I do think in this market now, he is £100 million plus player.
What's his ideal position, Jim?
What's he? An 8, a box to box. I don't think that he is a Rodri. But I also don't think that he was 100% fit, especially not in the last 2 matches, because he gives a lot more. But then it comes back to, is he still better than the others who are on the bench? And I would say yes. So I think it's a hell of a player. Hell of a player. And I think Arsenal became champions majority because he was in the team.
So do you think, Simon, you were in conversation with Souness?
Yes. Well, I know where Graham's coming from, because I think Graham is not watching him at Arsenal. I think he's watching him at international level. And I think Graham's viewpoint has been clouded and influenced by what he's seen at international level. And a lot of the time at international level, Graham's got a point. He is sideways and back. He was sideways and back in the last World Cup in Qatar. It was sideways and back the entire game. And in this version of him, I don't think he's fit. And I keep on having this debate with Arsenal fans and Arsenal people that tell me that absolutely that Declan Rice has balls in him, that in terms of clever balls, like the ability to open up defences with that clever little ball that I've not seen him play. But I've not watched him week in, week out at Arsenal, and neither has Graham. So I think Graham's take is not designed. Graham's not designed trying to be controversial. He's not trying to make a noise. Or, Souness likes to make an argument, but he's not trying to make a noise just for the noise's sake. He doesn't think that we use the word limited as some all-defining derogatory terminology. In the role that he's performing for England at times, his outcomes have been limited. The goal that
well, it's hardly positive.
No, but
if you're limited, you're limited.
No,
guys,
I know you've got to qualify. You've got to look at language and understand what Graham's point is trying to make.
Yeah, but guys, majority of midfielders, they go sideways, and you cannot go 90% of the time forward. Impossible, because you have to keep the ball. If you look at Rodri and you analyze Rodri, he goes majority of the time there, sideways. And here and there he goes forward to the striker when the space is there. And that's the same with Declan. You cannot, of the 10 balls, and believe you me, I'm a striker. I want him to play forward. Believe you me, I want that, because I want that ball early. Majority of the time, you can't. You can't, impossible.
So it's an interesting, it's an interesting conversation to debate with these guys, because I don't like to get into debates about tactics and techniques of way that the players play with footballers, because I don't feel that's my area of expertise. But I do listen to Souness, because Souness is one of the best midfielders that ever strode onto a football field, so he knows what a midfield player looks like.
But with all due respect, that was a long time ago.
Oh,
where the space... The
game hasn't changed that
much.
No,
it has, because the spaces...
The terminology has changed.
The terminal hasn't, but the spaces are totally different. And the
playing through the lines.
Hold on. The turnovers...
Push the ball forward.
The turnovers... Back in it, even when I was playing, the turnovers were a lot more than it is now. It's a little bit sorry, and don't get me wrong, I really respect Graham. I respect, and he was a top player. But You can't play all the time forward. Impossible. Impossible. You cannot do it. So majority of the time, you're going sideways and you wait for the right moment. What he has to look at, how many balls does he lose? That's what we have to talk about.
Yes.
How many turnovers does he have? How many critical balls does he give? That's what
But
we
the
have to
interesting
talk
thing in this
about.
tournament, I mean, there's one particular goal that Declan Rice created where he dragged the whole team up the field about 50 yards, plays in Madueke crosses it and they score. But look at during the course of this tournament, how many dead balls did Declan hit that were poor? 90% of them.
And that was not Declan. And
So he's not fit, is my view.
So there you could criticize him because we know he can do that better. But then go back to Argentina game. Where does the goal come from? The goal comes from Kane drops deep. He puts Rodgers in the space. Yeah. The defenders clip. But who is there to get there? Second ball, Rice wins. He plays forward. He plays forward to Rodgers. And Rodgers cross.
Sure.
You know, so...
Yeah. You're a football man, Jimmy.
Let's stay in perspective here.
Of course.
You know?
Is Declan world class?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
For me, yes.
Yeah. So Souness has got it wrong. Not limited.
I don't think that he is limited. I do definitely not think that he's limited.
Depends what you mean by world class. I mean, is he the best player in his position in the world? Some people would argue that there are other players that are better in that position than him. So I thought the definition of world class means you're getting any side. Does Declan Rice get into any international side? It's a debate.
Will Declan get into the Brazilian side now? Yes.
Oh yeah. That's a bad example.
Will Declan get
the Spanish side? No.
Okay.
So there's your argument.
Almo.
You pick Brazil. Casemiro.
I take Almo out and I put Declan Rice in the Spanish side.
All right.
I definitely do that.
Okay.
And does he get into the French side? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rabiot?
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Difference of opinion.
Here you go. No.
You're in for it during this break. That was our look back at England's World Cup journey with the Odyssey. While we don't have England in a World Cup final to look forward to on Sunday, you can still make this weekend epic with a big screen experience. Check out Christopher Nolan's spectacular new film, The Odyssey, in IMAX and cinemas everywhere from today.
Talk Sports Weekend of Epics with the Odyssey. England might not be in a final, but you can still make this weekend epic. Don't miss the cinematic spectacle of the summer. The Odyssey, in cinemas now.
We've been talking all morning about Thomas Tuchel. We've been talking all week about him and the fact that he's questioned England's DNA, whatever that may be. He said, I think ball possession plays a crucial role. It's maybe not in our DNA as it is in the Spanish or Brazilian or Argentinian DNA. To take the ball and control the game and the ball, which is a big problem. What do you make of that, Ben?
Watching the Spain game the other night against France, that's how you keep the ball. And I think it comes down to bravery. We've got the players to do it, we've got the ability to do it, but it comes down to bravery. And I think once them England players put that shirt on, when it comes to the crunch moments, that's the bit that is lacking a little bit. We've definitely got the ability to do it. We've got the players to be able to do it. You watch Spain, and when they went 2-0 up, even when they were 1-0 up, they just kept doing it. You've got Fabian Ruiz and Rodri in the central midfield. At one point, they're playing two-touch over the French midfield. They're keeping the ball nice and calm. And I'm just thinking...
They had a good structure as well, though.
Really good structure, but they're drilled on it. And there's a lot of people saying, well, why can't we be drilled on it?
You've got to want the ball as well.
You've got to want it, but it's bravery, isn't it?
It is.
And bravery comes in a load of different forms.
So
People think bravery might be a Dan Burn getting his head, and it is a form of bravery, but when it comes to the crunch moments, it's that calmness under pressure in the big calm moments where you've got to go, right, just woof, woof. And I think Argentina a bit, look at Messi, see how calm he is, and I think that filters through the team as well.
Yeah, he can carry you out of trouble, Messi, can't he? Give him the ball, he carries it up the pitch, he takes the pressure on.
Yeah.
That's what we were lacking as well, just an individual who just could carry it up.
Oh, it'd be lovely if we had one of them, two of them at home, I think.
I think it's a bit unfair because he took Gordon off, and I think Gordon's grown into the tournament, I thought, because he had a lot going on at the beginning, which I spoke of, because with the move and all that sort of stuff, a lot to handle, if you like. But I think he's grown into it.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, and we're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. For all your trade or DIY projects, first stop Toolstation. We have Jim in studio to interrogate him for another 40 minutes. I'm joking, Jimmy. Tremendous stuff. You're getting a huge reaction this afternoon. Some of the messages coming in. Mostly, many of them from Chelsea fans who love you, mate, and why wouldn't they? Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, brought to Chelsea in the summer of 2000 for a then club record of £15 million, 87 goals in 177 appearances for the club. Where is Chelsea in your heart and your career?
Oh, very, very high. Obviously, the 4 years that I was there was, I think, the best time of my career. Still go back a lot. Live around the corner of the training ground. I want Chelsea to do well. I love the Chelsea.
Okay, well, it's all changed at Chelsea, Jim, as you know. Since the Blue Coat took ownership, there have been 8 different managers in the dugout, including permanent and interim. In May, Chelsea appointed Xabi Alonso as their manager on a 4-year contract. And of course, what we know is that Chelsea, somewhat surprisingly, did not qualify for the Champions League, did not qualify for European football of any sort. So Alonso was asked very recently in the last few days, well, no Europe, but plenty of time to get it right. So is Champions League qualification the aim?
Well, for sure, that's a goal, but to reach that goal, you need to do many right things and to be part of that process, how we want to play, how we want to see ourselves, how we want to approach each game wherever we go. That's my job. That's what I'm really looking forward to have the whole squad. At the moment we have some bits, but early days, I'm happy early days so far. But for sure we want to be there, and time will tell, but we are ambitious, and to be in Chelsea you need to share those that energy, that ambition, and as well that hunger to want to have success.
Jim, are Chelsea going to find stability under Alonso?
I hope so. I hope so. That's the aim. I think they've called him the manager. I think they have done that for a reason. I think the club needs stability. They need now a manager that is going to stay with the club for 3 years. They have a really talented group. They've now identified that they are going to bring in a few experienced players. For me, I hope they bring players with that winning mentality and coming from big clubs, you know, where that shirt is really heavy and where they know that they have to win and can transmit that to the players that are there at this moment of time.
Do they need to keep Enzo Fernandez?
For me, you only keep him if he really wants to stay.
What, do you doubt that he does?
Yeah, I've got the feeling that he wants to move on. And I think it's very important that they get the harmony in the squad right. Look, he's a hell of a player. He's done exceptionally well last year, and at this World Cup, he's doing exceptionally well as well. How he scored that winner against Egypt with the header, absolutely magnificent. And he comes up with these moments. Also for Chelsea, he comes up with these moments against Man City away, even though that was an ugly goal. But he is there to make those big moments. But I think you can replace him because there are at the moment so many good midfielders around the world, you know. So don't get me wrong, I don't want to see him go. But if he says, I want to go to Real Madrid, get as much money for him and get somebody else for a lot less. Because at the moment, there are a lot of good midfielders around, you know. Look at Tielemans. Goes to Man United, for 30 odd million. That's a great buy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not saying that he's at the same level. It's different kind of players, but a good player.
Where do they finish, Jim? I know a ball hasn't been kicked yet in anger in the Premier League. Are they going to be top 6? Are they going to be top 4?
I think they have to be in top 4. I think everything else is not going to be good enough. They have to be in Champions League. As a club like Chelsea, to be 2 years out of Champions League will be a disaster. They're not in Europe, so they have to approach this season as, you know, they can reset. They can really go from Saturday to Saturday. They will have more rest than other teams. And that has to be put to their benefit, you know. So I do see them in I would even say top 3.
Yeah, more rest. That's what we need, isn't it? You and I.
More respite.
More respite. It's 2:30 on a Friday afternoon, and Jimmy's with us live on talkSPORT with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station.
He has to go, mate. I'm sorry, Jeff. Like, when we are paying £8 million for a foreign coach to come in and win us our first trophy since 1966, and that's what he does in a semi-final for an Argentinian side that were there for the taking, and to do what he did, 10 times worse than anything Southgate's ever done negatively. I'm sorry, he has to go, mate. Simple as that. The FA have to make a decision, and I just didn't like his interview, the arrogance of his interview, no regrets. Yes, you have got regrets, mate. You've got regrets. There was loads of trouble after the game across the country. Everyone was together. And that's on you, Thomas Tuchel. That's on you. The negativity, cowardly tactics. You can't blame the players. I'm hearing people say, Jeff, that, the players on the pitch have got to make decisions. There's some experience. No, you listen to your coach. Your coach tells you to play a certain formation. You listen to him.
Yeah.
He has to go. Simple as that. No foreign coach ever won the World Cup. Maybe for a reason. We've given it a go now again with a foreign coach, and that's what he's done.
I mean, Alan here has just tested the same sort of thing that you were saying. So Tuchel's shortcomings have been exposed. What about the players' shortcomings? Well, look, the players, we've got 6 defenders on. We've got 4 central defenders on at the end for the cross that Messi puts into Laura Martinez. So, yes, I get that. But ultimately, the can has to be carried by the coach, especially with the negativity. I mean, look, everybody said this, but the negative. Anthony Gordon is flying. We scored a brilliant goal. Brilliant goal. You'll have loved, the fact that Kane, Declan Rice, who's soon to come off as well, Morgan Rogers, and a lovely finish to Anthony Gordon. And Gordon's feeling 10 feet tall, so what do we do? Oh, we'll take him off.
It's one of the most infamous moments in World Cup history. Zidane's headbutt on Marco Materazzi in the 2006 final sent shockwaves through the footballing world. It wasn't a particularly ill-tempered final. Argentinian ref Horacio Elizondo had only shown 3 yellow cards until this point in extra time. Zidane and Materazzi had been the main protagonists of the match so far. Materazzi committed the foul for the penalty, which Zidane scored after 7 minutes. Then 12 minutes later, Materazzi equalised from a corner. Materazzi said in a 2020 interview he was asked at half-time to man-mark Zidane. So they'd been literally rubbing each other up the wrong way for more than an hour before the tension boiled over in extra time. Some reports suggested Materazzi had insulted Zidane's mother, but he successfully refuted that in a libel case 2 years later. According to the Italian, Zidane started it with a little insult, saying, "I'll give you my shirt later." Then he responded by saying, "I'd rather have your sister than your shirt." And Zidane switched. In 2022, he said, "I'm not at all proud of what I did, but it's part of my past." But would he apologise? To his teammates and fans, yes. But to Materazzi? I'd rather die.
Non, je ne regrette rien.
Absolutely cracking afternoon here in London, 27 degrees. I don't think it's as warm, but it's certainly beautiful weather at Royal Birkdale. Day 2, the Open. Let's find out what's going on. Here's Gabby.
Yeah, it certainly is lovely weather here, and a lot has gone down at Royal Birkdale. We've had huge drama on the 18th as Lucas Herbert just missed out on becoming the first man to shoot a 61 at a major by a few centimetres. The disappointment struck across his face, head in his hands, before he remembered the bigger picture. The Australian is leading the Open Championship by 3 shots thanks to a stunning 8 under 62. With all that attention on the Australian, the American Sam Burns has pretty much gone under the radar, also 8 under par and in the clubhouse and joins in equaling the lowest round at a major. Look, elsewhere, Dan Brown's, he's got off to a cracking start. Pit one up on the par 3 fourth, now finds himself 3 off the pace. Fellow Englishman Matt Wallace a further shot back. And what about the other Matt and Fitzpatrick? Looking like he'll be absent for the weekend. 2 over today, 4 over for the championship. But McIlroy very much will be here as it stands. 3 under today and 1 above the cut line. A gentle reminder, you can tune in to all the golf live on talkSPORT 2.
The Open Championship update on talkSPORT with Arnold Clark. Buy a used car and get a free 2-year service plan.
Okay, in the meantime, so much for the golf. It's time for this.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
And of course, we're looking at the World Cup final. Spain-Argentina, Sunday, 8 o'clock kickoff. Simon, we know where it's at. New York, New Jersey Stadium, the MetLife. We were there on a couple of occasions when we were in the US. Jimmy is in studio with us, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Jimmy, actually, I want to ask you about Messi. I mean, where the heck do you go with it? At 39, you've watched him again defy all the odds, as we all have. What on earth is your take of this fella?
He's just absolutely amazing. He's just in such a good nick. And he still has got that outspurt, and he's still strong. He's still very difficult to get off the ball, and his quality is just, it's second to none. How he got to that second goal, got to that cross
with his right foot.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say that. Everybody thinks that he's going to go only on his left. No, he's not. He identifies really quickly. No, I cannot go this way. I have to go that way, and then he crosses with his wrong foot. He's just got the quality. He didn't score, but he makes 2 goals.
Does he win back-to-back World Cups on Sunday?
I love him to bits. I love to watch him to bits, but I hope he doesn't. But that is more because 4 years ago, the Argentinians did not treat the Dutch properly when they played the Dutch.
Oh, that moment with Paredes kicking the ball into the technical area.
It was a little
But if you take that Dutch bias, which I understand completely because you're Dutch, if you take that out of it, would Messi not surely merit lifting this trophy again?
Messi on his own has been always, an icon for me because he's totally different. That, you just don't see it. But I've never really, but that's me, I've never been really a big lover of the Argentinians. Even though they always get there. They always get there.
What do you not like about them?
Just their antics. Just their. I love that they will do whatever they need to do to get there. They will, and I love that. But I want to see somebody else win. I would like Spain to win.
What about Lamine Yamal? Is he going to take over after Messi goes? Is he going to write the headlines?
He hasn't done it yet. He hasn't done it yet in this tournament. If you look at him in the Euros, he was on fire. But this tournament, he's tried, he's over-tried at times. In the semi-final, he played well. But I expect a lot more from him. Better decisions in the final third. I think before the semi-final, he didn't always make the right decisions in the final third, and with his quality, he should do that. It has not been his best tournament yet, but we never know in the final. But he's a hell of a talent. Hell of a talent.
Okay, Jim, you can watch the games live in the pub and grill at your local village hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
talkSPORT Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
You told us, Simon, earlier on in the tournament that you weren't particularly impressed by Jed Spence, to put it mildly. You questioned as to whether or not he should be in the team, let alone the squad. You've got double back in that, a U-turn on that, surely.
He played for certain parts of the game. He played very well against the Argentinians, and he exhibited, and that might well be what Thomas Tuchel was trying to get from him. Character-wise, I don't like some of the things he's done during the course of this season. I think he's got too much of it. But you have to give him the performance for certainly for 60-odd minutes of that game against the Argentinians. He was a far better version of himself. I don't think that defeats the observations that both myself and John Terry were having about him. John was not having him in the slightest. So with that in mind, that's why I have my particular view on him.
I mean, a World Cup can heighten a player's stock, and he's one of them.
Absolutely.
Surely, Jim.
No, I before the tournament, when the selection came out, I'll be the first to say I raised my eyebrows. I thought, Jed Spence, really? In the squad? Surely, he hasn't had the best of seasons with Spurs, and Spurs almost went down, and yes, his antics. But then in the tournament itself, he's been a breath of fresh air. He's been really good. Whatever he's asked of him, he's delivered. The only mistake that he has made is just before the 2-1. He should go on the ground and stay on the ground, because Messi steps on his toes, and if he stays on the floor, the game is not going ahead, and he closed that momentum down, and he might get a free kick. Yeah, that is being a little bit cute. But overall...
You're telling him to be a bit cute?
Cute, yes.
Not cheat?
That's not a cheat. He steps on his toes. Go on the floor.
But why go on the floor if he's not injured?
Well, he was. Because if you see, he's in pain. And it's not a time to be brave at that time.
Just be cute.
Be cute.
Don't be brave, be cute.
Yeah, it's
Get around
being
the
smart.
rules.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the rules are, I'm in pain, I'm laying on the floor, I'm taking my time.
Right.
Yeah, and let everybody else wait. And he's got a valid argument for doing that. Because Messi steps on his foot. Egypt got a goal disallowed because they stepped on Argentinians' foot as well. But
true.
But anyway, he has been magnificent.
Yeah,
he's been whatever he's been asked.
Christian Romero. I mean, he could be out of Spurs.
I think he's going to be out of Spurs. I think he wants to be out of Spurs. I think he wants to go to Spain. And I think another one, if he wants to go, let him go. Ask the most money possible for him. And if you're happy with what the other club offers, put a bow around it and say, thank you very much. Ciao, ciao.
On you go. Maybe somebody's stock that hasn't risen could be Marcus Rashford. David Ornstein, respected journalist, reports that Rashford's £40 million Manchester United exit clause has now expired, meaning any deal for him to leave will have to be renegotiated.
Yeah, Marcus.
Why do you think nobody took up that?
I think people has got a perception of him that he's a difficult boy, that he doesn't want to work hard, he's not really that interested.
What do you think?
I don't think that is the case. I think he is someone that needs to be loved. He is someone that really needs an arm around him all the time, and give him the feeling that he's the man, and also needs to be pushed, and give him that license that he is allowed to fail, and still.
You worked with him, didn't you?
Yeah. He's got one of the best right foots I've seen. One of the best finishings with his right foot I've seen. But he's very quiet. He's very quiet, very introvert, and people might take that in a different way.
Could you get much out of him when you worked with him? I've met him at Wembley on one occasion. Said next to nothing.
Yeah, but that is just
most people do that. With me.
That's the individual that he is.
Yeah.
I worked really well with him. He did everything he was asked, what he was told to do. So, yeah, but he needs love. He needs to feel that you are with him. He's got everything.
Right.
He's got pace. He's got power. He can finish. He came in the tournament with a lot of desire. He started really earlier in training by himself. He wanted to have a good tournament. Here and there, when he played, I expected more from him, to be honest. But he came with the right intentions into the tournament.
Do you think he'll get the love from Carrick at Manchester United?
Who knows?
He's craving.
It's a strange one because he made his bones, he made his bed, didn't he, when he talked about wanting to leave Manchester United and has gone to Barcelona. Barcelona have roundly rejected him because they bought Anthony Gordon and paid 30 or 40 million quid more for Anthony Gordon than they could have got Marcus Rashford for. I mean, the feeling I get about Marcus Rashford, he's a consequence player. He plays when there's a consequence. So when he gets reprimanded for going out to Ireland and going on a drinking session, he plays the next 3 weeks and plays well. When there's an England tournament coming up, he'll have a decent season because he knows there's a consequence if he doesn't. And I think there's a part of me that thinks that's part and parcel of what his makeup is. I listened to him in his little podcast when he sat there whining about how the world was against him. And that might be the love side of things. But, you know, you're getting shown your love. It's called £350,000 a week. There's your love. I can give you love if you want. I can give you a little cuddle and you can give me the 350 grand a week. How's that for you? No, you've got it. You've got the support. You've got everything in place and you haven't utilised it. So he'll look back on his career, Marcus Rashford, and think he could have done better.
Yeah. You enjoying it?
Yeah. I think I enjoy that, really. I really enjoy that.
Thank you.
But, I do think that he will later look back and think I could have had more out of my career. He's got a hell of abilities.
Yeah.
So much.
It's a game changer. I always think that.
So much ability.
Jimmy, you leave us very shortly, so we'll hit this break and come back after that. We're live on talkSPORT Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station.
I wonder whether he went back, muscle memory, whether he's gone back to what happened against Mexico, where we dealt with five at the back and they threw things at. But this ain't Mexico.
There's 20 minutes left.
It's
20 minutes of normal time, Jace.
It's more than that.
And we had a man sent off against Mexico. You could almost accept it.
I know.
You're playing against Argentina.
Yeah.
You can't sit off for 25 minutes against Argentina. He absolutely bottled it. Thomas Tuchel's cost us the World Cup. He cost us the World Cup. We're 1-0 up. Played well first half. All right, cagey affair. We go 1-0 up. Be brave. Be brave, Thomas. This is what we brought you in for. We brought you in for this moment. We got rid of Southgate because he bottled it, because he weren't brave. We brought you in for now to make that decision. We're 1-0 up in a World Cup semi-final. Bring on Rashford. Bring on Saka. And if they score, they score. But at least we're going to go down fighting. At least we're going to go down with some pride. We fell out of the World Cup in disgrace because of him. Because of him. And we brought him in for this job. This is what we brought him in for, to get us over this line. And it's the same old England, same old crap, same old guff that I have to watch every tournament that we're in. And it's the manager's tucked us up again. Tucked us up. We're dead on our feet. Got Morgan Rogers playing right wing, Jude Bellingham on the left,
Brings on Nico Riley. We can't get out. Harry Kane's done nothing. He's dead. Nothing. Got nothing left.
I don't.
I can't believe it, Jace.
Well, no.
Jace, I can't believe it.
No,
It's a disgrace. He should be sacked. Get him out. Gone.
I totally agree. I can't believe that we've moved on from Southgate, and it was if you look back over how we've limped out of World Cup or Euros, whatever, it was literally rinse and repeat. It's the same reasons. It was cowardice.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Football Form Roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. The world's gone football. Get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Time for the latest odds with Sky Bet. Michael Shinners joins us live. Michael, good afternoon. Let's look at the final, shall we?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jim. Yeah, we've made it. We're just about 2 days away, but Spain favourites with ourselves at 5-4, Argentina 5-2, and the draw 19-10. If you're wanting to sort of hedge your bets and just go for who's going to lift the trophy, Spain 8-13, Argentina 5-4. So these two, they've been second and third favourites for much of the tournament, and these two go into the final, but Spain just the favourite.
Michael, let's put Jimmy on the spot. Jimmy, the final. Who wins it and scoreline?
Spain 3-1.
Spain 3-1?
Yes.
Wowzer. What would that be, Michael? Have you got that in front of you?
I could. I think it one to check on the website, to be honest, Jim. But
Okay.
I'd say it'd be wouldn't be. I'd say it'd be one of the more popular ones. I think they tend to be cagey affairs. But then again, we saw the last World Cup final was probably arguably one of the greatest games that anyone will ever see. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out.
True, Michael. And what about a brief reflection then on the tournament for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the disappointment of England, but there have been some punters who have had some real success. We talked about the customer who had the ninefold builder bet, staked £5. The England-Mexico game had Kane, Bellingham, Jimenez to score, Gahey to be booked among a total of 9 bets, won 19k. But we also had in the last 32, someone predicted 4 correct scores, including the Portugal-Croatia game and the Brazil-Japan game. That for £5, they won £14,000. So there has been disappointments. Of course, there's been some losers, but there has been some good winners for Sky Bet customers as well.
Michael, great having you with us. Today is no exception. That's thanks to Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Football Form Roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. Download the Sky Bet app and get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
We have loved, not just us, out there, the listeners have loved Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank in studio with us. I can tell you that this afternoon. Jim, in the seconds we have left, your Netherlands side, many thought they'd go deep in this tournament. They didn't. They exited, as did Germany. Former Liverpool manager Arne Slot remains a favourite to become the new Netherlands manager. Koeman stepped down after the round of 32 exit in the US. What do you think of Slot? Can he reignite it for you?
Everybody in the Netherlands wants Slot. I don't know if he's going to take it because the rumor is that he still wants football every weekend.
All right, club game.
Club football, yeah. Every weekend. And not really national yet. He sees that more as like when he's a little bit older.
Right. Do you want him to take it?
That's I actually don't know. But I think the Dutch have to go a different way. I think they have to go not so much the Dutch way with a Dutch coach, if that makes sense. They went with a total Dutchman who changed and went a little bit defensive, 5 at the back, a little bit the same as England, but started with the 5 at the back, and that totally backfired on him. Totally got so much bad press in the Netherlands. So I think they have to go with somebody younger, somebody fresh, but with not sticking with only the Dutch way, you know?
Not Slot.
Well, look, he's a big name. He's a big name. Would he do a good job? Yes, I do think so. But there are others there as well. There's Michael Reisiger, for instance, who is doing the under-21s. There is Ten Hag, whose name is wandering about. I don't think that he's the right man, but they're talking about it. There is Van Bronckhorst, who is just going to Feyenoord, that they are talking about. So I think it has to be somebody younger with a little bit different ideas, who have played away from the Netherlands and have come back and bringing a little bit something different.
And that man is Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
No, they will never take me, unfortunately.
Why?
Because they don't see me really as Dutch, because I have been more in England and I have not played for Ajax, Feyenoord or PSV. So
no, you're too busy playing for Atletico Madrid and Chelsea.
But they have always seen me as an outcast, really.
Really?
Yeah.
You're never an outcast with us.
Here you go. Thank you very much.
You're always welcome in
That's
this
why
studio.
I'm sitting here.
Jim, you have been fantastic.
Thank you.
Great seeing you again.
Good to be here.
Thank you so much. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, you and I will soldier on
Indeed,
in the dubious company of Spencer Oliver. He's lurking about through the glass. Yes, I can see him. We're coming up to 3 o'clock. Stop trying to put me off, Spence.
Now we get the inevitable fallout after a World Cup, and there are reports that one or two of the England players were very surprised that we went ultra defensive in that closing stage of the game. And we were saying earlier on to Stan Collymore that there's a lot of making up to be done by Thomas Tuchel. A lot of people now would have lost trust and belief maybe in his methods, and that would include fans, it would include media, and he's going to have a very prickly time with the media, I guess, over the next 2 years, and maybe some of the players as well, Adrian.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's it's a big moment in his England career. Everything had been okay and judgment had been on hold, but judgment was always going to come with what happened at this World Cup, because he was brought in to win the World Cup. And there's no shame in losing to the reigning champions, Argentina, who've still got a player like Messi, who is the best we'll ever see in our lifetime, but it's the manner in which you lose that game, and that manner was not acceptable. Since then, he's come out and basically said, oh, it's the player's fault, not mine. that's how it could be interpreted. And I think that's not going to go down very well. Certainly doesn't go down well with me, because he's been in the job long enough now, and he should have studied it in remember the 6 months he had off before taking the job? Well, in that time, he should have studied the England DNA. We all know about the England DNA.
Yeah.
Your job, mate, is to come in and change that DNA. And if you can't do it, then off you pop, because you're not welcome. You've got nothing to offer us if you can't change that DNA.
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. Stick or twist with Thomas Tuchel? It seems there are a number of reasons why you do the latter. Reports the players have been questioning his tactics and the difficulty of winning the fans back over, to say the least. Yet former England coach Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank has told us he's not of that view.
I'm in a camp that you should just stick with Tuchel. He now knows the players a lot better. I don't think that this should be a discussion, really.
Meanwhile, perhaps a naughty headline from one of talkSPORT's social bosses is what's actually had Adrian Durham in trouble since the semi. You'll remember he appeared to be blaming Arsenal for England's defeat, but has moved to clarify things now.
The Arsenal thing was about squad selection, and I picked out Arsenal because Declan Rice had declared himself 100% fit in a TV interview before the game. That clearly wasn't true. And also, the guy Saka had sat in a press conference and admitted it was a gamble taking him to the World Cup.
Meanwhile, we now know for sure that Donald Trump will be at the final, where he'll present the winning players with a Super Bowl-style ring. Got a little bit of breaking news for you now. Liverpool have confirmed that Dominic Szoboszlai has signed a new contract at the club. We'll bring you details of that as soon as we get it. Jared Bowen has signed an amended contract with West Ham and will stay there in the coming season in the Championship. He says after a lot of conversations, he sees the club is focused on the Premier League and he wants to ensure they return. England's Test side will not be coached by Andy Flower again. He was favourite to replace Brendan McCullum, but says he's happy with his IPL and 100 jobs at the moment, so will be sticking. He did, though, admit he has spoken to the ECB about the position. And to Royal Birkdale, where we spent all day focusing on whether Lucas Herbert could match or even beat the Open single-round record, but we barely noticed Sam Burns could do it too. What a day for talkSPORT's Gabby Partington, who's been watching.
Yes, as you mentioned, they both equalled the lowest round in major history. The Australian, though, has a two-shot lead over Jackson Suber. Matthew Baldwin, who hit the opening tee shot of the championship, is looking like he won't be back in front of his fellow members over the weekend. The Englishman is 5 over today, 3 over for the championship, and the other Matt Fitzpatrick, a shot better off. But with the cut line at level par, likely the Yorkshireman won't be back either. Younger brother Alex Fitzpatrick going nicely, jumps into the top 10 alongside compatriot Dan Brown at 3 under par. Shane Lowry safely in the clubhouse on the same score, and then Rory McIlroy's got 1 to play going down the 18th. He's 3 under today, 1 under in total, and will be back tomorrow as it stands. But it is Lucas Herbert who leads by 2.
Talk Sport News.
Burnham is promising to give back hope to the people after he was named Labour's new leader. And Southern Water fined £7 million for illegally dumping sewage. Sinead is back at past.
Talk Sport weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Today is the last of the really hot weather. Temperatures as high as 30 in the south, cooler by as much as 10 or more degrees in the north. Isolated showers may develop across the south this afternoon and then ease into the evening.
He's the current undefeated Super
with that impish smile and quite impertinent strut, in he comes into the studio and takes his place beside Simon Jordan here in the 17th floor of the News Building. Spencer Oliver, where have you been all my life? Great to see you.
Jim, Simon, how are you doing?
Good, Spence.
Good.
Good. Thanks for being with us. Incidentally, Simon, just in the passing, how good was Jimmy?
Yes. Yeah, one of the nicest guys you can meet as well, Jimmy.
Yeah, he doesn't like you.
Very truthful as well. We was talking about the Deontay Wilder situation out there with Simon. There's a lot of truths coming out in there. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What did he say to that,
I mean,
Spencer?
he asked me if the rumours were true, and I said they were. Should we just leave it there?
Let's just leave it there. No, Jimmy leaving the building. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was absolutely terrific company there for the last 2 hours. Now we're landed with Spencer. I don't mean that. Spencer, here we go. So much to get through. And of course, AJ fighting very shortly. Tyson Fury fighting shortly. Not against each other yet. But it's an exciting time for you guys.
Yeah, it really is. We've got Katie Taylor coming up as well, August the 5th. There's so much going on now. Yeah,
Kelly.
The calendar is looking brilliant. Yeah, Josh Kelly on next Saturday as well on the undercard of Anthony Joshua. Yeah, good times.
Yes.
Good times.
Well, one of the so-called big fights comes up on the 12th of September in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Ryan Garcia will be taking on Conor Benn. That is for the WBC welterweight title. When you heard about this one, did you think, right, I mean, would Conor always be an unloved world champion because of what has happened with him?
Well, time will tell with that, won't they? I think that, it was the way that he handled this situation when it was, when it had happened. It's not like this is the first time that, we've had people failing performance-enhancing drugs, failing tests. It happens all the time, but they go under the radar. Conor and his team, for me, I thought dealt with it wrongly, and he got a lot of hate out of that. But let's see how it turns out for him. He gets his opportunity. He's talked about wanting to become world champion, emulating his dad, winning that WBC belt, and he's got the opportunity against Ryan Garcia. I've got to say, Jim, it's a tough fight. It's a tough fight, especially down at 147, a weight that he hasn't made for over 4 years.
I mean, Simon, how much did the Eubank fights alter the public perception of Conor?
Oh, I think a little bit. I think he inhabited the role of the pantomime villain in it. So he played the gallery a little bit, and he became an angry young man for the gallery.
Yeah.
And that monetized the fight and made him very wealthy as a result of it. And people have got mixed emotions. I think Conor's a very nice boy. I always have done. I think that they, as Spencer alluded to, I don't think the way that situation was handled was particularly admirable by a load of people. I think the people around him should have been giving him better advice. I have great respect for his father. Great admiration for his father's career. So following in someone's footsteps, who was as good as Nigel Benn, is always going to be challenging for Conor. So with that in mind, he occupies a certain space, but he has not taken an easy route. I mean, people could say that at one point he was going to fight in 154, and I don't think there's any fruit up there for him in 154, given what we've just seen in New York recently with Jaron Ennis, and obviously we've got Josh Kelly, who I think would do a number on Conor as well. But this is a very, very difficult fight. The only thing I can say in this fight is if he can carry the power into the 147s, then we know that Garcia has a propensity, or had a propensity when it gets tough, to look for a way out. He looked for a way out against Tank Davis, and I know we're talking about levels in that fight, Spence.
Yep.
But he showed it once, and if Conor can make the fight ugly and drag him into a fight, you might see Garcia's backside go a little bit. But it looks very, very difficult fight for Conor to win. And it's probably, we all talked the other day about the idea that Conor Benn has been the best matched fighter for the kind of finances that he's been able to achieve, and fair play to him. But this is a real fight.
But what you have to respect about Conor going into this fight is this is what he's been calling for.
Yeah.
He's wanted this opportunity down at 147. This was always the dream for him, and he's taken it. So
what he wanted was Mario Barrios.
Yeah,
but that opportunity's been taken away.
Yeah, Mario Barrios, who Ryan Garcia won the title from.
In terms, Spencer, of ability, status at this level, who are the bigger question marks over Benn or Garcia?
Garcia's a proven world champion, so he belongs at that level. He is an elite level fighter. For Conor Benn, we don't know because he's never boxed at that level. He's been very well matched. He's boxed fighters that have been weight drained. He's earned a hell of a lot of money, and ultimately that is what it's all about.
But still, question marks around him though because of what happened. He was suspended for a year following positive tests for performance-enhancing drug Osterine.
Absolutely, and he's paid the price for that. But now he gets the opportunity to, fulfill his dream of winning a world title. And we've got the proven in Ryan Garcia against the unproven in Conor Benn because he's never boxed at that level. let's see if he can back up what he says, how he talks, and it's an intriguing one. That's why I put it down as one of my fights that I really wanted to see this year, because it's the known against the unknown, and Conor Ben has done a lot of talking, and now it's time to deliver. This is the launch pad for him, the acid test.
But you're both telling me it's going to be a tough night for Ben.
On what we've seen, Ryan Garcia would start a heavy favourite for me.
Heavy favourite?
Yeah, heavy favourite.
Really?
Yeah. We got to remember, Jim, for people that won't understand, boxing weights and how hard it is to make these boxing weights, Conor Ben has been competing at 160 pounds. He went down to 155 pounds, was it, or something last time?
No, 153, wasn't it?
Yeah, or whatever it was. He dropped into the low 150s last time.
He fought, Regis Progress, yeah.
That's right.
153, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so I can't tell you how difficult it is dropping those last couple of pounds. He looked weight drained when he was 150, 151, or whatever he was. I know it was around that sort of mark. To drop that extra 3 pounds in body fluid is very, very difficult. And to maintain that strength in those later rounds, Ryan Garcia does it. We know that. He's the champion. Can Conor Ben carry the power that he had up at 160 against Chris Eubank down to 147? If he can, we've got a real fight. But that is a big if.
You're both going to take Garcia to win it, aren't you?
On paper, I'd say that Ryan Garcia would. As I said, listen, Jim, he's a heavy favourite, and anyone that says that he's not.
Right.
I hope Conor wins. I mean, I
like him as well,
I want Conor to win.
Yeah.
I want the circle to be completed in terms of whatever happened in the past is now the past.
Yeah.
There are a litany of fighters that have fallen foul of these circumstances and gotten away with people forgetting about it. So Conor is in that position now, so he should be given all the cachet. If he goes and beats Ryan Garcia, it's up there with Kell Brook beating Sean Porter. It's up there with Lloyd Hannigan beating Donald Curry. It's up there with some of the best British wins in America.
It is, because he goes over there.
In this instance, but
Yeah, but he goes over there as the underdog. Ryan Garcia is a huge name over there, and it's a very difficult task. If he goes out there, you've got to respect it.
Of course.
You have to give Conor Ben respect if he
September 12th for that one in Las Vegas. Before we leave this, we're hitting a break, but 4-division world champion Shakur Stevenson has signed a deal, what do you know, with Zuffa Boxing this week. He's called for a matchup with Conor Ben, who's also signed to Zuffa Boxing. How long before we see Ben Shakur?
Listen, Conor Ben comes through against Ryan Garcia, you'll see that sooner rather than later. That's for sure.
Huge.
Absolutely. So is this fight that Conor's going into now. Until Conor can establish himself as a world champion, Shakur Stevenson is a pound-for-pound star. They both signed with Zuffa Boxing. I don't know how Zuffa Boxing is going to get that money back, by the way. If the rumours are right that I'm hearing, and Shakur Stevenson signed a deal, a 9-figure deal, £100 million, I'm hearing, somewhere around that part, or $100 million. How do they get that sort of money back? That is a big signing. Yeah, he's a great little fighter, but perhaps you need that dance partner, and that dance partner is Conor Ben.
Right. We'll see. 100 million.
Lost leader, isn't it? Brings other people in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Shakur Stevenson signed for Zuffa. Zuffa gets more credibility, more credentials. More fighters start to sign for him. They start to get their bigger picture. Their business plan model starts to become something that can be achieved. And when they make these statements about signing the best fighters in the world, here is one of them.
In this hour, we're going to be talking live with former unified heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr., who returns to the ring this September. But when we come back, 1 week out from the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, we're going to be in conversation with former gold medalist fighter, the delightfully named Delicious Ori. He's going to be joining us live. Stay with us.
Up until 72 minutes, we were going to get into the World Cup. Crap. Oh, we weren't crap.
The goal was a wonderful ball from Morgan Rogers.
Yeah.
But I'm asking you to put your playing hat on now.
Yeah.
Your Argentina, is that a good goal or has they switched up at the back post?
That's a bad goal. You switched off. The right back, or was it the right back? Doesn't
Yeah,
even,
yeah.
it doesn't even react.
Why does that need to criticise a bad goal for England? It was a great goal. We went 1-0 up. It's a great cross.
It was a great
Why
cross.
can't you argue that Gordon lost his man to score the goal?
Because the geezer doesn't even see him.
Well,
he doesn't go
there
like.
must be a reason for that.
He doesn't run and go boom boom. He just runs and the guy's like, oh my man.
Troy, you can't criticise a goal that we.
I'm not criticising it. I'm saying we didn't play well. We had 5 shots in the whole game.
Yeah.
They had 5 on target. Remember, they don't call the 2 that hit the post on target.
Yeah, but
so they had the same amount of shots.
But man for man, they're better than us. But
no, they're not.
Well, they are.
No, they're not.
Not man for man, they're not.
Man for man, they're better than us.
Well, last night they were.
Yeah, but still, I think maybe you maybe at a stretch, maybe 3 of their players maybe gets into the England.
Exactly. And they're not man for man better than us. What they can do better, and this is why I thought Messi's greatness yesterday really showed.
Yeah.
Because you know when they were 1-0 down, there was 40 minutes left, he went, give me the ball. He lost it a few times, give it me again. He hit crosses over, give it me again. Don't worry, just keep giving it me because I know I'm going to do it. Everyone in their team went, there's 2 lines. You can either be, I'm going to be the person who doesn't make a mistake, I'm going to be the person who wins the game. Everyone in their team and their bench went, we're going to win the game, I'm going to be the man.
Yeah.
Our team went, don't be the one to make the mistake. No. And we played with fear. Now, that doesn't always come from the manager, that comes from the players within. One person I do want to give a shout, because I've been very harsh on him with this whole thing. Jed Spence was top draw.
Yeah, he was.
Was top draw. So I give credit where it's due. But we've got top players.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Now then, the 2026 Commonwealth Games will officially begin with the opening ceremony on Thursday, July the 23rd, and run until Sunday, the 2nd of August. And they're in Glasgow. Come on, watch every event of the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games exclusively live on TNT Sports and all HBO Max plans in UK and Ireland. Boxing, of course, is on the agenda. Why wouldn't it be? And joining us in studio to look ahead to these games is former gold medalist, the fighter, Delicious Ori. I absolutely love your name, mate.
It gets a mixed bag. Some people love it. Some people are a little bit wary.
Oh, fabulous. Delicious won a bronze at the 2022 European Championships. He won gold medals at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in England and the 2023 European Games in Poland. And turned professional February 2025, signing with Frank Warren and Queensberry. We'll get to that. But the Commonwealth Games, Delicious, still very much an important event in the sporting diary. Or are they still as big as ever?
Oh, yeah. You know, it was my first introduction to a multi-sport event when I was seeing, you know, not just the boxing side of the world, but it was just, you know, a mixture of different athletes from track and field to judo, and the list goes on. It was, not to like overdo it, but it was amazing to get that experience over a very short period of time. It was like an emotional roller coaster. I was going through so many emotions, but overall, looking back, amazing.
I think it grows you as a person, doesn't it? Like I've done the '94 games, and you get inspired by people that you grew up watching, like Linford Christie, Sally Gullo, Kelly Holmes, and they're all around, and they're in that village, and it grows you as a person, not just as a fighter. It sort of like molds you, doesn't it?
There's a real presence and aura about, you know, seeing these athletes and their history as well, and they're, you know, doing their, you know, repeating their Commonwealth Games, and you go in and say, I'm part of this, you know. I'm also one of the favourites to win. Like, I've got this. You know what I mean?
Brilliant. I mean, gold medal. I mean, you must still prize that, cherish it.
It was, I can't put it into words. Honestly, it was incredible because, you know, it was in Birmingham. I'm literally live about half an hour from the NEC stadium that I boxed at. So my friends and family were there. And to be honest with you, you know, I used to box all around the world, you know, and to be able to box in my back garden, it was like, honestly, seeing like teachers and old friends that you haven't seen for many years. You're going in, you're walking into the ring, you're looking around, and oh, that's so and so, that's crazy. I haven't seen them in like 10 years, you know. So yeah, amazing,
fantastic. So it's special, is it, that it's on UK soil again, and it's in my hometown?
Very much, is it? Yeah,
Glasgow.
Very much so. I can't wait. You know, I'm going to be a part of it. I'll be doing the punditry work on the games. Just being able to just be there. I can relive that experience, a little bit selfish, but I can relive that experience from a different angle and at least be able to express to the viewers what it is that the athletes are going through, not just from a boxing sense, because, you know, athletes in general are, you know, we've got something in common, which is that sort of drive and that passion and desire to be the best. So.
Yeah, and it's a proven pathway, isn't it, Spencer, for some fighters to come through that and then go on at pro level?
Absolutely. Listen, to be speaking to Delicious, who turned professional, albeit a very short career that he had because he chose to go a different direction, he's still done that. So for the fighters that are coming through and want to go on to that, it's a great experience to speak to someone like himself who won the games, because I know the pressures of that. When you go in there as a young kid and you're going and you're seeing all these other nations, and it's like there is so much pressure on your shoulders, but there was no one obviously for us to talk to there, but to be able to speak to someone that's been there, seen it, done it, is a massive advantage for the home fighters.
To be honest, to have, you know, for me particularly, you know, you had the likes of Fraser Clark who got the gold, you got George Joyce who got the gold. You know, in the previous games, there was that little added pressure. It was like, right, okay, you were expected to win this in a way, and also it was on home soil, so it was like, right, there's no way you can lose this. So there's that little bit of pressure. I look back and I think that's really grown me as a human being, not just as a boxer.
See, what was it like winning the gold though? Who did you fight, and how tough was it?
I boxed an Indian who actually was, you know, he surprised me how tough he was. Honestly, he was a southpaw. He was very, very fast, very strong. He beat me like that first round. He you know, he was up on points on the card. I remember my coach telling me, Lee Pullen. He looked at me in the eye and said, you know, you've got 6 minutes to prove how badly you want this. You know, when I sat in the corner, and he goes, it's all you now. And that was enough for me to go in there and snatch that gold medal off him.
The difference between amateur boxing and professional boxing is at the end of each round, the scores come up around the ring, so you can see whether you're winning or whether you're losing. That gives you the push to, you know, sort of kick on, not kick on. You know, it's it's a lot of pressure to deal with.
I love it. I love it. I love the way you've described it as well. I can still sense it meant so much to you.
You know, I look back and I think that is, you know, I've had 8 years as a boxer. I look back and I think that is what made me who I am. And I have a lot of fond memories of those couple of weeks.
So what happened then? And I'm keen to hear this from you, Delicious, because it all looked as if, right, all the pointers in the direction of pro boxing.
Yeah.
And what happened? You had one fight.
Well, a lot. What we've got only got a couple of minutes.
You tell us. Take as long as you like.
Look, it goes down. It always goes to the core of who you are as a person. What do you want out of life? You know, and what your why is. And I've heard you talk about it a few times in the past. For me, it took time, but particularly when I turned professional, it was like, what do I want out of this sport? What do I truly want from this sport? Because every day you're waking up, you're training, you're sparring hard, you're suffering with the likes of concussions, broken ribs, the list goes on. The contract that I signed, you know, there's people watching you constantly, so you've got to perform. You can't just fall on the wayside. So for me, it was like, what do I want out of life? It was deeper than boxing. And I was asking myself these questions. As you do, you've got the self-doubt in sparring and training sessions and things. And I couldn't answer it. It was like, do you want a lot of money? No, I don't want a lot of money. I know a few boxers have got quite a bit of money, and I don't envy their lifestyle, you know. Or what, do you want fame? No. And you go down this sort of these questions that I call it the demons just talking to you, and it's like, do you want, you want this, and you don't want these things. So it's like, so why are you doing what you're doing, you know? And that was it. It was sort of like a moment. It was a pin drop moment. It was sort of a gradual and a sudden thing, which took a couple of months. That first pro fight cemented it for me. I was in that.
Why you won it?
It wasn't about the win. It wasn't about the win. It was the whole thing. The fight week.
You go from being a sport to a business. That's the difference between it. So when you're an amateur and you're travelling around the world and with your teammates and it's all a big team effort and you're picking up medals and whatever, it's lovely. There's no pressure on your shoulders. You're just representing your country and you're doing something. When you turn professional, then it becomes a business.
Totally different.
And
so fight week. What happened in fight week?
I'll say, okay, the best way to describe, I wouldn't say it's the pressure. I wouldn't say it's the pressure because for me, I enjoy pressure. It's not that. It's professional boxing is very different to the amateurs, and it's quite obvious to say that, but what I mean by that is the feeling, okay? You're not going in there to score points against this guy. You're not going there to win. You go in there to badly damage this person, because in order to be able to get your next sell, get your next, get that momentum, you have to hurt your opponent, or your opponent hurts you. It has to be one way or the other. I started to realize about myself, I have no intrinsic motivation to cause or inflict damage to somebody else. I know that I can earn my money by different means. So it was a very difficult conversation I had with myself. And I thought, after that first fight, can I do this another 20 times? Because I wouldn't be boxing if I didn't think I was going to become a world champion. I'd be wasting my time. So I thought to myself, do I do this another 20 times? No. If I was to do it another 20 times, I'll be coasting. And as you know, in a heavyweight game in particular, you cannot coast.
I remember speaking to you down in Finchley ABC. You was down there training with AJ. I think you might have been for one of your Commonwealth Games. And having that conversation, you was talking about doing that Olympic Games, going through that cycle, picking up medals, turning professional. You had your future mapped out then. Yeah. It was already there, and it was like a flick of a switch. You decided you taste it, because it is very different, isn't it? I remember coming out of that Games, turning professional, the same thing, going in there, and then you feel the heads banging together, and it's a lot more rough. And like you say, there's intentions there.
I'm keen, Spencer, to get Simon's take on the decision that Delicious came to.
I think you have to be honest with yourself. If you're evaluating what your why is, then you have to find your way through that. Did you never fancy continuing your amateur career to go into Olympics?
Good question, because for me, Olympics was everything. That medal was everything, and a part of me was left in that ring when I didn't win that medal or progressed to the next stages to win that medal, because I gave absolutely everything. I don't think I have it in me psychologically and emotionally to give another 4 years into the sport, because the amount of suffering you'll have to go through in order to be able to get yourself, not just in the Olympics, because I've done that already.
I thought you won that, by the way. I commentated on that fight. We was out there doing that for talkSPORT. And it was a very close fight. It could have gone either way, but on a different given day, I thought you could have won that fight. And so that was your dream ripped up. Like you say, a 4-year cycle, you have to wait for that.
Yeah.
The decision to go the other way, that's a big problem in amateur boxing as well.
And there's so many things that can happen along the way. You can have the best camp. You can have everything could be going perfect for you, and it takes one bad day or one luck of the draw. You've got another 4 years to wait, and it's as simple as that. And it was a gamble that I wasn't willing to take. It was as simple as that.
What was the conversation like with Frank Warren when you said, "Well, that's it, one and out"?
Do you know what? This is part. So I did a bit of scouting, when I after the Olympics, I was getting offers from everywhere, including the WWE and the rest of them. I decided to sign with Frank Warren, and it wasn't this necessarily because of the money, even though I did get very good money. It was the conversation I had with, and not just with Frank Warren, but his son, George Warren. And there was something about that conversation we had, and a few times actually before I signed that contract, I was thinking to myself, this guy cares. And it's not, I get it, it's a business, but I think with Queensberry, they want to develop you, genuinely want to develop you as a fighter. And you've seen that many, many times in the heavyweight division, what Frank's doing now with the likes of Atuma and the rest of them. I sat with Eddie Hearn, good guy, but I just felt like there was a little bit of, there was going to be a bit of rush in there. But anyway, I decided to sign with Frank, and the conversation was just as professional as it was, getting in there. He understood. He's been in the game a long time. He understands a fighter's mentality, and I've got a very good team. When it came to the boxing, so we came to a mutual agreement, and it just ended up with a handshake.
And that was it. Wow, amazing! It's quite a story.
Yeah,
when you tell it like that, it's an intriguing story.
For me, my message would be, it's not about boxing. It's to the lay person, people that just work and do their 9 to 5s, whatever it is. And I as a man, I want to relate to as many, particularly young men, as I can. You've got to make sure that you do something that gives you that fulfillment. If you feel like you're not doing the right thing, step away. And I wanted to make that example for what I was doing. I had the whole world ahead of me, however people want to say it. However, it would have made me miserable.
And what was the path that you chose, Delicious, before you go, mate? What was the path?
So what a path am I on now?
Yeah, absolutely.
I am a huge investment and money nerd. So not necessarily making a lot of money, but a psychology behind money. I've got a very business sort of mindset in terms of investing and the rest of it. My job now, first of all, is to be a role model, good, positive role model for the likes of young men. And number two, I want to look after, in particular, young athletes, particularly boxers, when it comes to educating them financially. I want to be able to, we get the stories all the time, you know them, boxers make a lot of money, particularly heavyweight boxers, but they also lose it. Money comes fast and it leaves fast. So my job is to, and my mission now is to make sure that I solve that problem.
Have you got that company set up?
I can't say too much.
Well done.
Well, listen, when you do, mate, this is the place.
Delicious, Ori, it has been a joy. A great pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much. And you can watch every event of the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games exclusively live on TNT Sports and all HBO Max plans in UK and Ireland. And you can hear Delicious commentary throughout it. We're at 3:30.
Minute comes and we're still 1-up and we've been attacking and we've still created chances, but it hasn't quite gone in.
Yeah.
But we're 1-up
Yeah.
and Rashford's on the pitch.
Yeah.
And Saka's
Yeah,
on
go
the
on,
pitch.
keep going. I'm
In the
gonna hit
85th minute,
Yeah.
it brings on Dan Burn.
No.
Go, lovely
No,
jumping.
we get done the counter attack. We can say. We can say.
What do you mean?
I just told you the scenario.
No, but that scenario is absolute crap.
No, it's
that scenario wouldn't have happened.
Jay, I'm just trying to paint you a picture about how we could lose the game in a different way based on what. Jay, I'm with you. Don't get angry with me.
No, I am getting angry.
No, don't get angry
You're
with
trying to tell me how I'm going to feel about the situation.
And you'd sit there and go, oh, well done, boys. Glorious failure. We had a right go.
Yeah.
Right go at the post-cup time. Got done in 2 counter-attacks. Fine. Go out in your shield. No way. No way you'd sit there and say that.
I would have sat there and I would have accepted it
I don't
because I watched 4 bloody tournaments.
I don't believe you.
Of England.
I don't believe
doing
you.
exactly what we did last night.
I don't believe you.
And if we had gone out with Rashford and Saka on the pitch.
I don't believe you.
And still trying to attack, and we get done,
do you know what
then
we'd
we
be sitting
get
there?
done.
Do you know what we'd be sitting there now? We'd be saying, how can Thomas Tuchel allow us to get done on a counter-attack twice, 85th and 92nd minute? How can that happen? You'll be saying the same thing, and it'll be a different conversation based on what the evidence is in front of you. You would.
Don't tell me how I'm going to feel.
Oh, you'd accept it, would you?
Oh, I've told you 10 times.
No chance. No chance. I know you too well. No chance. I wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't accept it. I'd be saying, why has he not got 5 at the back? Why is he not? He's 85th minute on the counter-attack. Listen, we agree. I'm just trying to.
No, you're not agreeing. You're not agreeing.
No,
you're not agreeing.
No, I am.
No, you're trying to wind me up.
No, I'm not. Jay, 100% I'm agreeing with you. Jay, 100% I'm agreeing with you.
You're not agreeing with me. You're not agreeing with me.
Total football, tiki-taka, the gegenpress, ways of playing the beautiful game that have defined eras. They're all, of course, team styles, but there's one player who invented an individual position which no one else has been able to play since. A man by the name of Franz Beckenbauer. His role became known as libero, which means free in Italian, because there was a similar position well used in Italy in the late 50s and early 60s. But he refined it and made it his own. Now, when I say he was a sweeper, you're picturing him marauding in front of the back line. But Beckenbauer covered the entire pitch. He was like Alan Hansen, Claude Makelele and Paul Scholes, all in one. Despite his success at club level, though, Beckenbauer was told to play as a more traditional centre-back by the West Germany manager Helmut Schön at the 1966 and 70 World Cups. After years of begging to be set free, Schön relented, and in 1974, Beckenbauer had the tournament of a lifetime. His libero role was put to the test when he came across this lot in the final with their total football. West Germany won, and Beckenbauer had this moment of pure joy. His style hasn't been replicated since. Players have tried, but it's testament to just how good he was that no one's even come close.
World Cup, yes. The final this Sunday. Spain, Argentina. England take on France for the bronze. The bronze winner there on Saturday. We'll get to that before we go. We'll get to this now. Royal Birkdale, some records being made this afternoon. Here's Gabby.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's been an eventful day, to say the least. Fans have certainly got their money's worth, haven't they? Latest there on the golf course, McIlroy's tapped in for a par down the last for a round of 67. One under for the championship, one above the cut line. However, some big names in danger of missing the weekend, including major champions Brooks Koepka, Aaron Ryan, Matt Fitzpatrick, just to name a few. Alex Fitzpatrick, though, has just picked up his third birdie of the day. What a season this man is having. Now 4 under for the championship alongside fellow Englishman Matt Wallace, 4 shots off the pace. But the closest challengers to leader Lucas Herbert at 8 under par are Americans Jackson Suber and also Cameron Young, thanks to that birdie finish. 2 consistent rounds of 67. All eyes, though, on the afternoon wave now. Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau and Tyrrell Hatton are all out and all parred the first 2. And you can catch the rest of their round live on talkSPORT 2.
The Open Championship update on talkSPORT with Arnold Clark. Buy a used car and get a free 2-year service plan.
Gabby, thank you very much indeed. Spencer in studio with Simon and myself as we talk boxing this Friday afternoon. And we have been hearing from Delicious Ori, former gold medalist boxer, who excelled in the amateur world and then turned pro, fought once and decided it's not for me. A huge reaction to Delicious and the way he spoke to us. He articulated himself brilliantly there, Spencer. Yeah. I found I was hanging in his every word. Fought once at pro level, won it against a fellow called Milos Veltic on points over 4 rounds, and then said, that's it.
Yep, it's the difference from amateur boxing to professional boxing. It is 2 different sports. One of them is a business. You know, people go in there with intentions. They're fighting for money. They want to better themselves. They want to go, and it's a dirtier game. In the amateur boxing, you're going around with your teammates. You're travelling the world. You're fighting week in, week out. You're picking up medals. It's all a little bit of fun. You know, you're going into camps and whatnot. But when it becomes a business, it becomes a little bit spiteful. And I think that I was as surprised as anyone when Delicious decided he wasn't boxing, because he was the big hope in the 2024 games out in Paris. He lost in the first round. It was it was a very close fight. I thought he'd won, and I thought he was going to turn professional and have a successful career. I was surprised more than anyone that, he chose a different path. But smart kid, very articulate, and I'm sure he'll do very well for himself.
It's his honesty I really appreciated, Simon, as to why. No, that's it. I'm not carrying on.
Well, I suppose it's the mantra of quitting whilst you're ahead is not the same as quitting, is it? So he's looking at maybe if the Olympics had been more fruitful for him, it might have shaped him differently.
Yeah.
He'd been riding on a crest of a wave if he'd have come back as an Olympic gold medalist and carried along by the same sort of furore that carried Anthony Joshua. But if he didn't want it, he didn't want it. And there's nothing you can do about that. Once your mind changes its direction and you don't feel that you want to do something, then forcing yourself to do something would have probably produced a different set of outcomes for him that might have diminished him further.
Yes.
So he comes out of it with a certain viewpoint on it, and whether it's the professional game or whether it's the fact that he lost in the Olympics and it started a cycle in his mind, who knows? But what he's got to do now, what he wants to do, what he seems to want to do, and he mentioned it 2 or 3 times, was talking about inspiring and looking out for young men in this society, because a lot of people feel that young men in society right now are being disadvantaged and put into very difficult positions and constantly reminded of the things that society doesn't do right and the challenges that young men have got. And we hear, there's certain influencers like Andy Tate that I would not like to listen to, but they make that point. And Jordan Peterson, the psychologist, makes that point about young men having very difficult times and carrying a lot on their shoulders. And he made a point on a number of occasions that he wants to be inspirational to young men. So it'll be interesting how he operates in that space. And also he talked about the other side of things, which is guiding fighters. And I was talking to Paul Smith the other day about this, about the nature of what the industry needs to do better for fighters, what the British Boxing Board of Control needs to do better, which is look out for fighters, make sure that fighters are protected intellectually and financially.
Yes,
and it's not done currently.
Well, but this,
I mean,
it's
you
not
had a
been
big
done for
decision to make, Spencer. You won silver in the '94 Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
So you were hugely successful, and the pro world waited for you, and you went in that direction without any fear.
No, that was always the dream. I think there was more excitement than fear, that is for sure. And it was about progressing, seeing how far I could go, seeing where this journey was going to take me. And I think that what I achieved from the amateurs into the professional ranks led me to doing what I'm doing today. So it was a dream that was fulfilled for me. Certain fighters, their dreams are not fulfilled. They fall on hard times. They earn a lot of money. They lose a lot of money. And I think that's what Delicious was talking about there. Helping people that earn a lot of money within the sport to guide them and put the financially direct them in the right way. So I think what he's doing is good. I think if it comes to fruition and he can achieve what he wants to achieve, then it's going to be great for some of these young fighters that are coming through as well, because they do need guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thanks to Delicious Ori. Just love his name. Smashing guy and a great talker live on this show. We're with you, courtesy of Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station.
I wasn't overly enamoured with what we were doing anyway. I've spoken freely on this marvellous channel that we're on, and, on talkSPORT regularly, and said, look, it's not as good as what everyone was making out, I didn't think, and that's nothing against the manager, Thomas Tuchel, nothing at all. It's just that I didn't think, I wasn't thinking we were blowing teams away and we were purring, but we were finding a way, and that's equally fair to say. That's a brilliant thing to have, of course, if you're not playing brilliantly, but you're winning games. Now, that's a great habit. We all know that. So I don't think I was too... I try to give balance to my comments about these things, and I didn't think we were magnificent anyway. There was a lot of talk about this feel, and how the feel was better. I wasn't having that bit. I was going, oh, come on, do me a favour. And I've spoken freely on, I think it was with Simon and Jim about, Gareth's time, and they were sort of suggesting I was supporting him because I'm his mate and all that. I wasn't. I was just going how I think it was. I don't think there was radical change. I had a big debate with Simon about it on their show and said, look, I don't think there was radical change. Simon was saying there is, and he's a master tactician, and that's fine. By the way, I've got no problem with people's comments because we're here now talking about it. But I did say on that show, I did say to Simon, I said, Simon, there's nothing radically changed here. You know, if you cut through the noise and you go, in balance to that side of it, which I've been intrigued with, is I do think this is the best opportunity we've ever, certainly in my lifetime, I think it's the best opportunity we've ever had to win the World Cup. Not because we're amazing, but because the other superpowers are not as superpowered as what they were. France were flying. I think we're all shocked by that one because they were the ones who you thought, right, okay, they're what we think they should be, apart from their last game. And equally, you know, you look at them and they are superpowered. And yet, you look at their last game and you go, what just happened there? So it is the World Cup. It's not easy to win a World Cup. Everyone sort of suggests it is, but it's not.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
It is Jim White, Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver. We are live on talkSPORT and we are talking boxing in the home straight today as we approach 4 o'clock. Spencer and Simon, for that matter as well, Joe Joyce's comeback fight ended in somewhat bizarre fashion. The British heavyweight lost to Artem Suzlenovkov in Moscow, but the 40-year-old was facing the undefeated Russian in his first fight since losing to Filip Hrgović in April 2025. But it was a very unusual outcome. Joe Joyce looked lethargic, he lacked power throughout the fight, and then appeared to signal that he no longer wanted to carry on fighting in the 11th round and stepped backwards. Suffice to say, that was the end of it. The referee stepped in, stopped the fight. How do you explain, Spencer, the Joe Joyce, what would you call it, fall off?
Well, I think the last time we saw anything sort of remotely like that was when Sugar Ray Leonard boxed Roberto Duran, a fight of no mass, wasn't it? Out of nowhere, he sort of just turned around out of frustration and said, no, I'm done. But I think in this instance, I think it was Joe Joyce just recognising that, you know what, I can't keep taking this punishment. And he was sort of beaten into submission. It was very sad to see, Jim. I think he started, yeah, you're right, slow, lethargic. He was winning some of the early rounds and he was doing what he normally does, walking forward, you know, the juggernaut, taking the shots and trying to inflict a few shots of his own. But it was a shell of his former self. It was a man that was taking punishment unnecessarily. His face was swollen at the end, and in the 11th round, he just decided he'd had enough. You know, he sort of quit. He walked away, and it was a very sad end to which I would describe as a pretty good career. And, you know, he was a silver medalist, should have been a gold medalist in the Olympic Games. He went on and he had some great wins. Joe Parker, who we always talk about, was his night. That was his shining night.
Yeah.
He beat Joe Parker and looked like he was going to challenge Tyson Fury. He was the name that everyone was talking about. and then it all come crumbling down after that.
Again, a sad end, isn't it?
Well, we talked about this in great detail about him coming into this fight, and off the back of the last 3 or 4 fights he's been, even in the comeback fight after the Zhili Zhang circumstances where he fought Cash Ali, he wasn't looking anything vaguely like he'd done prior to the Zhang fight. It was a terrible decision for him to have taken the rematch against Zhili Zhang. You know, whoever gave him the advice, and I'm not going to criticise Frank because although he was under Frank's management, you know, Frank has match made most fighters very well. Adam Morley looked after him. No one felt that Joe should have gone in back in against Zhili Zhang. He should have rebuilt. And the fact that he went in against Zhili Zhang and got done even worse in the second fight was the unwinding of everything. And he might have had a rematch. In the Cash Ali fight, he should have done what he did to Cash Ali, but he wasn't particularly impressive in that. And then you've seen the fights, and you've seen it, and we discussed the idea of Joe going into this fight, and it was a Sonny Edwards moment. It wasn't. He didn't quit because he was beaten to a pulp. He quit because he was exasperated and fed up. There was nothing left of him, and he knew it.
Yeah,
and that moment, that epiphany landed on him in the same way. That, I don't want to do this anymore. And unfortunately for these guys, it often lands in the ring.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And when it does, it's the loneliest place.
Absolutely, I can imagine. Sad end for Joe Joyce. If he's listening this afternoon, we wish you well, Joe. No doubt going to appear on this show yet again soon. I tell you who's going to appear on this show right now, and I'm thrilled about it. Former unified heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr. returns to the ring this September. Delighted to say the same Andy Ruiz Jr. joins us live in the show. Andy, good afternoon from us all here in London. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Good. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on the show this afternoon. So you return September the 4th in New Jersey, and you take on the Polish heavyweight Damian Kanibia, and it's live into Zone. How do you feel about the fight coming up?
No, I'm super excited. I'm super blessed to come back inside the ring. A lot of people don't know why I haven't been fighting because of my injuries, because of my hands. So I've been preparing and waiting until it got healed. So right now I'm really excited, and I'm really happy to be fighting on September 4th with this Polish guy. I respect all fighters. But I'm here to win, man.
Yeah, Andy, I mean, look, this goes back to 2019, doesn't it, when you had that great victory over Anthony Joshua. We saw you come back in the return. You didn't look yourself. You didn't look the fighter that was the one that beat Anthony Joshua. And since then, what is it? You've had 3 or 4 fights in the last 7 years or so. That inactivity has been a big problem for you.
It sure has. And a lot of people, they don't know what I've been through. They don't know what other fighters go through. Even they're fighting inside, but outside of the ring, you know? So a lot of difficult times, but now that I got my head straight, now that we got a big promoter behind us, supporting us, so now we're hungry, we're ready to go, and we're here to be champions again, especially now that the division is wide open. There's more opportunities, there's more things to do. So like I said, my mission is not over. You guys are going to see the new Andy Ruiz. When I fought Baby Miller, I had so many things going on, especially with my right hand. So right now, I'm really blessed to be given another second chance, and best believe you guys nobody's going to regret this.
And Andy, what's different now to what it was, you know, I'd say a couple of years ago? How do you rediscover that hunger that was once there? Because I think I talked to you about this before, actually. After you had that victory over Anthony Joshua, you sort of was out too much. You're partying a little bit too much. We saw you come back for the return, and you didn't look in great shape. You was out of condition. How do you rediscover that?
I think it was just the celebration too much, you know, and especially from when I fought. Especially when I fought Anthony Joshua, you know, I made my dreams come true. Everything happened so fast, but that was the past. But what I'm telling you now is, now that we reunited with Manny Robles and Estrellita, my old team, that's the people that made me a champion. Those are the people that that showed me the hard work. After me and Manny Robles, we kind of split apart. I started kind of training myself. I was trying to do my own understandings and trying to take an easy way around. But now that we reunited, the team is better than ever, man. So we're clicking, we're bonding again, and the hard work is for sure being made. So that's one of the biggest reasons why it's a new shift and why things are going to be a lot different because of the training and the trainers.
What's the opportunity, Andy, for you? You've got Daniel Dubois as a champion. You've got Moses Atoma coming up. You've got Ajit Cabral. You're fighting the opponent that Ajit Cabral had a little bit of difficulty against. What's the opportunity for you? Where are you targeting your guns at? And is this a fighting decision or is this an economic decision, Andy? Is part of this because you feel there's a landscape of money to be made here?
No, I think this is the position of continuing my mission, to complete my mission, and that's becoming another two-time heavyweight champion of the world. I want the WBC belt. I want the ringside belt. So those are the belts that are missing in my collection. So right now, the opportunity is there, and the only thing to do is to work hard, pray, and just become champion again. Just like how I did it before, I could do it again.
Andy, Fury fights Joshua. We think that will happen, barring any upsets in the interim fights that are coming up. And that fight is set to happen later this year. What are your thoughts on that? Who wins it?
It's going to be a good fight. I'm going to tell you the truth. If Tyson Fury gets in Joshua's head, he boxes around, moves around, throws his combinations, maybe it could affect Anthony Joshua. But if Anthony Joshua goes in there and starts banging out with Tyson Fury, he could probably win. It only takes one punch to change the whole fight. So that's going to be an exciting fight.
Fantastic. We look forward to seeing you in the ring again. Looking further into the future, Zuffa, always in the news these days. Would you be tempted to join them?
Right now I'm on my mission with Eddie Hearns, with Matt Shroom. So that's the complete mission that I have to do and I have to complete. And they promised me the shots and the title shots. So I think that's what's most important thing right now.
Andy, just quickly before you go, what is that roadmap? How long is that? You're looking to have this fight, obviously, against Damian Neba. After that, are you looking to get into that world title contention, that world title opportunity? Because there is a lot of opportunity around now.
I just want to become champion, and I want to stay a champion. I don't want to get them and then lose them and me go crazy like how I did in the first time. So, like I said, I feel God has given me another chance. We got my mind right. We got our soul right. So we're ready. We're prepared. And the most important thing is that we're hungry. I learned a lot of the mistakes that I did before, and I still have talent. I still have a lot of ability to become champion. I know a lot of people don't believe me. A lot of people don't think that I'm serious or nothing like that. But from all the things that I had to go through all those years, definitely God humbled me. And now I'm ready to prove everybody wrong. Not just everybody, but me.
Andy, good luck with it. Andy Ruiz Jr., thank you for joining us live on our show this afternoon. Andy joining us from the US. Andy says he's still got the appetite and the hunger for the fight game. I have the hunger for this. Neil Jeffrey from the New York Stock Exchange, thank you for sending over some birthday cookies for me and Simon yesterday. There it is. Happy birthday, Jim. White and Jordan and talkSPORT. Best sports show in the business. Thank you so much for that kind comment, Neil. I've always wanted to take a bite-sized chunk out of the man Jordan. Have a great afternoon. World Cup Game Day Drive is next. Muchas gracias.